Looks like we're live now.
Mm-hmm. Why isn't it?
Okay.
Yep. Why aren't we doing it? I thought we'd gone stream.
I'm showing we're live, so I think we're okay.
We've gone stream. Oh, we are.
I'm showing we're live, so I think we're okay.
Oh, we are. Yep.
I can hear a little bit of feedback from your side.
Okay. Oh, we are. Yep.
I can hear a little bit of feedback from your side.
Is that
there's a delay.
No.
Yep. I can hear a little bit of feedback from your side. There's a delay.
How's that? How does that happen? I don't know. How's that?
I don't know.
How does that happen? Hang on.
I don't know.
Hang on.
Oh, PJ said you've got the stream open in another window. You'll have to shut it.
Hang on.
Oh, PJ said you've got the stream open in another window. You'll have to shut it.
Hang on.
Oh.
Is that better?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
How's that, PJ? Are we okay now?
Yeah, I can. Yep. That's
Excellent.
fine. Right. Okay. This is the Friends Discuss Horror Films, and we're doing found footage, and it's myself and Wendy. Or
Hello.
Wendology. Welcome to the stream.
Or the Department of Wendology, as Dan likes to say.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, Ben. Okay. So we are going to discuss found footage, and I'm going to ask Wendology, what is it about found footage that you like? What got you into it?
One of my favorite questions. As I was saying before we came on, the word obsession comes to mind. The first found footage film that I watched was the one that many of us watched for the first time, even though it wasn't technically the first found footage film, that was Blair Witch Project. I didn't see it in the theaters back when it first came out, but I saw it many years later online, or I think on like a movie channel or something, and I absolutely loved it. And there's something about that style of filmmaking that really hooked me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of reasons, and what I've found over the years is that found footage for a lot of people tends to be very Marmite. Some people absolutely hate it because they don't like the sort of janky handheld camera type filming method, which is totally understandable. And then you either love it or you hate it. And one of the things that I love about it is it's very immersive. It's different than watching a regular horror movie. It feels much more immersive, much more visceral. You feel like you're really involved with the action, because many times you're seeing the actual action through the lens of someone's video camera that's shooting it. So it just hooked me straight away. And I've been on quite a journey watching as much found footage as I could get my hands on. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good, but it's all still very interesting, even when it's not maybe the best production. It still has value in some ways, because you can see that someone was able to make that with zero budget, with no budget. And that's another thing I like about found footage, in a way, is that it's allowed people to sort of make found footage films. A lot of people who, don't have the budget to make an actual film can make these films for a lot less money. And I think it's been more, it's made filmmaking a little bit more accessible for a certain demographic of people. So I like that about it, and I just love the visceral, experiential nature of it. I I,
Mhm.
I just find
Yeah,
myself glued to the screen watching it.
yeah.
Um,
I can understand when you said it's a Marmite thing.
yeah,
I actually went and saw Blair Witch at the cinema, and at
excellent.
the time, I wasn't, as you say, it's this moving about camera. I found that quite off-putting.
Mm,
Um, but as the years went by and I saw more and more, and I even saw it on series things such as Battlestar Galactica, the new series, where there were scenes in that where one particular thing where the Battlestar re-entered the planet, that was all found footage. And I suddenly thought, wow, this is good because it looks like that these are what do they call it? Um, journalists that go with the battle. And I
like a
thought that was
documentary style.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know what they called it, emerged doc reporters. And I thought, hang on, this is actually good. And so I went back and I rewatched Blair Witch, and I loved the way that you had this bit where they interview people. So it really felt like they were investigating
yeah,
something that had happened,
yeah,
and that fact that because it wasn't good quality, you were watching the screen thinking what's going on here, and that's the same thing I found with a few others. So it's been a slow um progress for me to like it,
yeah,
but now I do, and I love looking at different ones. So if
yeah.
you want
That's
to,
where, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's
that's
where
the I
it's
mean,
really interesting.
yeah. So if you'd like to say what ones that you like best, or which one is
Sure.
your yeah.
Sure. And I just noticed that PJ has put a couple of things in the chat that are really relevant, especially to Blair Witch, because he is quite correctly saying found footage goes back to the 60s technically. Blair Witch is the most recent and most popular found footage
I
movie of our time.
I didn't know that. Well, thanks,
Yeah, and
PJ.
I
I
didn't
didn't
myself.
know that.
I didn't
Oh
myself for
wow.
years. I always thought, oh, Blair Witch was the first. And then when you start digging and you start really looking at at the history of found footage, and
Hmm.
PJ's popped something in the chat, The Connection, which is classed as the first found footage, I think,
All
and he's
right.
the year was 1961.
All
Um,
right.
and
Oh.
yeah, and my husband saying, Blair Witch is it's definitely the first commercially successful one, I think. I think.
Can I
Um,
just?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Gwen. Is it? Was on my understanding that before the Blair Witch film came out, there was a massive sort of advertising campaign for
Yes.
it, which wasn't. It was like a viral thing that it wasn't meant to be about a film. It was something that actually happened because
Yeah, I
that's
think
what made.
they
Because
did a
that's what.
lot of hype for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
hype for it, and it definitely made people think that it was actually based on a real thing, a
Mm,
real legend, and a lot of people assumed that because if anybody who's never watched it, who would be watching it now through our modern eyes, when that came out, it was totally new to audiences at that time.
yeah.
We had never seen anything, in a movie theater like it before. And so the natural tendency was to think, oh, this looks like a documentary thing. So this must be
Mm,
real. This must really be happening. So a lot of people did assume that was an actual real situation that they were in, and they didn't. I think they sort of went out of their way to promote that as well. So it was well done. It was definitely well done.
yeah. I rewatched it a few times and I really did like it. And it's just, and as you said, it is people using their own equipment to make a film that you can imagine making with people that look like normal people
Hmm.
experiencing things like you'd think normal people would experience, which is, and I was just, is it? am I imagining it, or is the original Night of the Living Dead? Do you think that could almost be found footage in the way that
Um,
or is that just because it
yeah,
looked cheaply made at the time?
I think more that. I think more that.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely more the time that that was made. But
right.
I think if that had been filmed in a found footage style, that would have been excellent. I
Hmm.
love that film just as it is, but I think now that you mention that, if that had been shot in that same style, I think it would have been extremely,
Oh yeah, yeah.
unsettling. But of
Hmm.
course, at the time that that was made,
Yeah.
we did have, what is it, Super 8 cameras, and I
Hmm.
don't know what kind of camera gear we had at the time, but we wouldn't have had that, you know, quite the same quality. But yeah, that's an interesting concept. That would have been pretty cool actually if you
Yeah.
did that.
I mean, they didn't have the post-production stuff that we have
Yeah,
now.
probably not.
What they
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
they couldn't afford it mainly. So if you, what is your
Yeah.
favourite film? Which found footage is your favourite?
Well, for me, the top of my list is always going to be Blair Witch, because it was the
Hmm.
first one that I saw in the genre,
Hmm.
and I kind of gauge my favorites as the ones that I can go back and watch again. They become almost like a comfort watch.
Hmm.
So I definitely would put Blair Witch in the top spot. Um, Probably after that, maybe in no particular order, I would probably put Cloverfield now,
Yes, yes.
because yeah, because I can watch that one
Hmm.
over and over again
Yeah,
at
just
different
that's
times.
you're frozen on my screen. I can hear you, but that's it. You're back again.
Oh yeah, I know. We seem to be having
That's all right, don't worry.
signal
But yeah, I
issues.
mean, I like the Blair Witch, and but Cloverfield, there was something about that I loved it because I found it really disturbing, and
Oh yeah,
it wasn't just the film, it was the sound as well,
yeah.
I was like, well, what's in the background? And you knew something was happening in the party, and they just were talking, and there was things going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, I found that was really well done,
The
and
interesting thing for me about Cloverfield is it's
mhm,
actually much more janky camera work,
mhm.
to the point where even as a huge lover of found footage, it does feel overwhelming at times,
Yeah,
even for me,
mhm,
loving the genre. So, but it still works, and that's why it works, because every reaction that the actors are having feels real, and it feels very visceral,
mm,
and we're all putting ourselves in that position and going, yeah, I mean, I'd be reacting the same way. And it feels it just has such a great feel.
mhm. I
The
mean,
What was I going to say? That we were watching earlier today some YouTube videos, sort of talking about more the wider Cloverfield universe, but
oh,
in
right, yeah.
particular, they showed a scene from Cloverfield that is my favorite scene in that movie, and it led me to another realization, and that is that I am not as scared by the monster in Cloverfield, even though it's brilliant, very
Mhm,
Lovecraftian, very, you know,
mm,
otherworld, very scary.
yeah.
That didn't scare me as much as the parasites that are falling off the monster.
Yes, yes,
Oh
that's
my
that
God.
that I must admit, because when I rewatched it, I kept on thinking there was something about this film that was really made for oh, and I thought it's not the and then I thought, yeah, it's those little things and what they do to you, and even the fact that the military are really panicking as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because all of our weapons aren't working on this thing, because
No.
it's from another, like, dimensional plane, I think, or something like
Hmm.
that. So it's like nothing's working on it. And you see this big monster and you think, oh my God, that's really scary. And the way that they shot it, where you don't actually see him straight away, which I thought was really great.
Yeah.
I think that works a lot better than when you're kind of seeing all of him straight away. But those little hints of the monster going around a corner and things like that really worked well. But it was the scene in the subway where they run down into the subway. And because the subways aren't running, because everything is shut down in the city in disaster, they walk along the tracks, and they're walking in the dark on the tracks. And you almost think, okay, what's coming? Because we haven't seen the parasites yet.
No.
You know? And then inevitably one of the characters shines a light up on the ceiling, the roof of the tunnel, and you can just see the eyes glimmering, and they're upside down on the ceiling, walking towards you, and then they start falling down and attacking them. But they're so fast, they're like spiders. They're very spidery, and I think that's kind of a cross between a spider and a crab, you know? And they kind of reminded me a little bit of the Starship Trooper bugs.
Oh, yes. I know what you mean. I think that, it's the rats. You remember the rats? You see the rats running along, and I'm thinking, there's, because you get, you think, all the horror films, that's like a what do they call it now? Where something occurs and you know something else is going to come. The rats are going to be, meaning there's something worse than rats down here. And even the noises in the subway where you hear the boom, boom up above, and you think, oh no.
It triggers something really primal in us. Because it's all of a sudden you're the lowest thing on the food chain. We go from being the top of the food chain in many ways to suddenly now we're the lowest thing in the food chain, potentially, because there's something out there that's just way, way, way beyond us.
And
but when those things hit them and start attacking them, they make a noise as well. They make that like noise, you know, and that just, oh my God, that every time I see that, it gives me the chills. It's so good. But it really like shakes you up. It because they're lightning fast. They come at you, you know, in that like almost like a pack, you know, and they're attacking the group. So those were actually much more frightening to me than the actual monster, even though I do love the monster and the design of it.
Yeah, I think the scene that really makes you, when it throws, it knocks the head off the Statue of Liberty, and all the reaction to it is like, whoa.
That I had a total Planet of the Apes moment as well when I saw that. Did you as well? When you see the head of the Statue of Liberty come crashing down, even though you know the Planet of the Apes moment is on the beach, you know, but I just totally had a moment when that happened. But that scene so early on, right after we get the long lead in, that's very sort of much you know, they're introducing the characters and you're very immersed in their social lives, and then all of a sudden, bang, the action starts, and the minute it starts, it never stops. It's just bang, 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 constant. But right after the action starts, and you get that scene of the head of the Statue of Liberty, it's so jarring. And as a former New Yorker, one of the things that I was chatting to my husband about was he picked up on it. He said it is very powerful to watch. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's very powerful to watch because it does bring back those kind of vibes, you know, from when the buildings were collapsing, when the towers were collapsing in New York. So and I think that's another thing that makes it so powerful to watch. You know, and no matter where you are, if you've lived in any place that's had an incident like that, it does make it even more visceral.
And the fact that the military were just so powerless, and you went to that scene where they were virtually triaging the people, and they were panicking. They didn't,
Yeah.
you know, and they were just like, you can't do anything about her and pushed her over. What are you doing? And then that scene occurred. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that I thought that was really good the way they did that.
Hmm.
So she gets bitten, and then the
Hmm.
wound festers and it gets worse and worse, and she starts to have other symptoms. But then when they see her bleeding from the eyes, and then they rush her into the tent just in time. And I
Hmm.
thought the way they shot that was very clever, because all you see is her silhouette
Yeah.
and then the explosion.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good, and you're feeling all the emotions that the characters are feeling. That the app they it's one shock after another for them. They
Yeah.
don't get any let up. I
Like,
mean, they thought what they'd already been through was bad, and then they see their friend come to an end like
yeah.
that. You know,
That,
so
that,
it really just keeps piling on the stakes and the pressure, which is I think why it works so well for me.
and
Um,
you just know what the military's going to do in the end. You just know that's coming.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It becomes painfully obvious that
Hmm.
that obviously they're going to reach the stage where they're going to nuke it,
Hmm.
and that alone is, it brings in that apocalyptic,
Yeah.
you know um, nuclear sort of fear, that
Yeah.
that we all innately have as well. So it really hits on a lot of different, very deep-seated fears.
Yeah. When they did that bit at the end with the
Um,
telephone, where they're making a almost like a last will and testament, the guys doing it
yeah,
on the phone, and the way that you just feel you're there with them, and that hollow feeling
yeah,
that you have that's you're not gonna survive
yeah,
this. Yeah,
yeah,
it was just
exactly.
really
And that's,
smart.
and again, you're there and you're putting yourself in the position and going, holy
Mm.
cow, I could be in this position.
Mhm.
This is crazy. They know that they're not going to make it out of the city
Mhm.
before they
No,
drop the nuke.
no.
Um, and then you even see the explosion at the end, and then you're always seeing it through that lens, which is what maintains that really sort of visceral feel. So yeah, yeah.
That would be
Jay
good.
in the chat said, the next Cloverfield movie, he wants to see Godzilla fighting for humanity. I love Godzilla.
Oh
I
yeah.
love Godzilla. I grew up with him.
Yep.
Um, and then what's he got in the chat? A few of the post-nuclear movies tried to do them as found footage, but ended up more like first-person type of movie, too polished. And to PJ, he found those better. Um, he said, I thought more about Ghostbusters 2 and Doctor Who when what's TSOL walked through the city.
Oh, when
Um,
the monster.
yeah, my husband said Cloverfield had a 9/11 resonance with the scene of the Woolworth
Mhm.
building collapsing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go go Godzilla. That's another one of my favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs.
Oh, yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so another found footage movie for me that I've discovered that I can watch again and again, because it hits on other elements that interest me, which are science, a lot of the geology, anthropology, um, and that in that the movie is As Above, So Below,
Oh, I love that. That's a really.
archaeology. Yeah,
Yeah. I. There was so much in that movie that had me hooked. Yeah.
yeah, and it gets better on a second watch,
Mm.
in my opinion, because there is a lot to take in, and then I went away after I watched it, and it's good to sort of get a little bit more familiar with the history that they're showing
Mhm.
you and they're discussing in the movie, that even enriches it even further.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so that one to me is, um, again, in my top five now.
Yeah.
I could own a copy of it. I will eventually. It's one I could watch easily every year, if not a
Mhm.
couple times a year. I think it's. So I've heard that there's, that it can be a little bit Marmite. Some people like it, some people don't like it, which is which is cool. Um,
Mhm.
it works well for me.
Mhm.
I think some of the things that I've found with some found footage horror movies is if you don't click with the characters or they're just too obnoxious or too annoying, it just takes me out,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But I thought the characters in As Above, So Below were interesting enough, you know, that really it really
Mhm.
kept me engaged, particularly the lead um,
Mhm.
character, the archaeology um, lady who's sort of following in her dad's
Yeah.
footsteps, I think. And it's almost like a female Indiana Jones without needing to be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like it's just it's you don't think about that, but it's after the fact. If you you know think about it, it is got a sort of Indiana Jones vibe, which I really like about the
Yeah.
original Indiana Jones movie, and that's what I like about this because it's got that sense of peril, the sense of adventure. It's got you know historical information in it. You're seeing, you know, something about. I've always been fascinated with skulls, ossuaries, things like that. So I'm fascinated by the catacombs.
Mm. I
Um,
Yeah. I must admit I heard about them years ago, and it was something on YouTube about they had nightclubs in Paris, and they were excavating them to make them bigger, and they broke through a wall, and all these skulls fell down. And I'm thinking, oh, and
wow.
it's just all the history for it was quite amazing. And also for me, being underground in caverns, and when the guy was going, well, if you don't take this, you could be lost down there. I think, oh no, that's that's really scary.
That is another thing. I think it hits on a really
Mm,
primal
mm,
fear of that claustrophobic sense of you know, just being lost in a tunnel underground and never being able to
mm,
find your way out. It's very claustrophobic. It's very sort of really gets you on a primal level.
mhm.
So I do like that about it. I do like other. It isn't necessarily found footage, but I do love cave horror in general
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah,
because of that element.
mhm. Yeah.
Um, but
The
yeah,
one I like, yeah.
it's a great film. Yeah,
Mhm.
I really
Yeah,
enjoyed that one.
even the
Um,
bit about Nicholas Flamel and the Philosopher's Stone, um,
hmm
and and the bit where that night where you know there was something really wrong, where they find the body of the knight and then they come back and he's well rotten, and you think, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that is,
exactly. There's so many layers to that movie that
yeah,
it's worth watching a few times to really be able to absorb everything. Going away and sort of you know watching some reviews on it and background that some amazing YouTubers have put together. You know some great background information on the movie and done a great job of unearthing all of the historical references and things like that. So it is
yeah.
worth researching it and then going back and watching it again. You get even more out of it.
Mhm. I did see some people picking it apart, and one or two of them were really good. But there was one that was, oh no, well, that's you knew that was going to happen. Why was this going? No, I found it okay.
Yeah, and that's okay.
I
You know, I mean, I think
mm,
these things, particularly with found footage, it's definitely, as we said earlier, it's like a Marmite thing.
yeah,
It's
mhm.
some people. I have a friend, well, our dear friend Julie. I I love mentioning Blair Witch Project around Julie because she'll laugh when she if she hears this because she absolutely hates the movie and she thinks it's the funniest thing she's ever seen. She said she was laughing her head off in the theater. So it's what I
Yeah,
find really fascinating about found footage is just that is that it's so divisive. It some people
mhm.
have one type of a reaction and that's fine. Other people, you know, have a totally different reaction, and it's just fascinating to see how it affects different people. And then with the other element with found footage, particularly with the extra janky sort of camera work in some, it's it's medically dangerous. You know, for some people who can't watch it, they you know
Oh
they
yeah,
become ill.
yeah,
You know, watching
mhm.
it. So that's another element of it that makes it a little bit of a sticky, subject for some people.
I was going to ask you, what did you think of the Paranormal Activity films?
I've only seen the first one. I'm not a huge watcher of sequels, with some very, very big exceptions. But most of the time, unless it happens to be on and I hear good things about it, I might watch a sequel. But yeah, I've only seen the first one, and I really liked the first one.
Yeah.
That one really nails it.
Yeah, I went to
Excuse
see.
me.
I think I watched that with my ex, and we were really shocked just how some of it made us jump. When you considering you're just almost looking through security cameras.
Yeah.
And I remember my wife saying to me at the time, "Oh, there were some bits in that." She said, "We went home, got into bed, and she goes, oh, if you had a camera, it was." And yet the sequels, one or two, I think one of the sequels I liked, the others were getting, look, what can we do that's way out there? And I thought, no, this
getting
is
into jump the shark territory. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gone a little bit far, but
yeah. So that one of the things I really love about that one is even though it could be mind-numbingly boring for a lot of people watching that one, because for the longest time there's just endless build up to what's going on, and it's a very slow build to where this demon is ramping up its activity, as the movie goes on. But I love that. I can be very patient with a movie as long as it's engaged me from the start, and when there's things I'm enjoying about it. So that one kept me very engaged, even though there are very sort of dry, segments where not a whole lot is happening. The tension builds, because you're waiting for something to happen, and then the subtlety of it is surprisingly creepy. So like the where she's just stood there staring at him, and you can see like something has taken a hold of her, something has possessed her, and she gets up from her side of the bed and she walks around, she's staring down at him. So that part really, really like unsettled me. And then obviously the part where the demon is actually going to start, it grabs her, it starts grabbing her and dragging her down the hallway. It's great. I really enjoyed that one. And again, I'd say in my top 5 that I would own.
Yeah, that's the thing that we thought was there was these bits where we were at the cinema and we had people next to him, what's going on? Why is this? And my wife at one point, I wish they'd shut up. She said, because it's all part of it. We thought without that, the other bits wouldn't be as as shocking.
I agree. Thought,
and as you said, that bit where she's just staring is like. I remember, I thought, oh no, that's really creepy.
Yeah, exactly. That's where that really is effective.
And we were talking to a friend of ours about it, and he said he can't watch it. And I said, why not? He said, well, I watched it once. He can't. He said, because when I was younger, my sister used to sleepwalk, and she sometimes would walk into my room and stand there like that. And he said, and
terrifying.
It was because she'd just walk and then suddenly stop, whatever, and it got to the point he had to go out and get his mum, and she would just like turn around and almost.
It's like they can't wake them up, right? Yeah. They have to like just gently steer them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would definitely unsettle me.
No. Right. We were saying about Troll Hunter.
Yes.
You said I would recommend that. That one, as I say, I was just coming into found footage and I looked, oh no, but when I watched it, oh yeah, that really was. I found
Okay,
that you need to see that.
that has been on my list for ages.
Yeah.
Ever since I watched someone's review of some found footage movies on YouTube, and they were talking about that movie
Mhm.
a number of years ago. And I thought, oh, that just sounds great. And I think of where is that movie set? Because it's set in a certain part of the world, isn't it?
Norway.
Is it Norway? Yeah. Which
It was.
also fascinates me. That whole part of the world absolutely
Mm.
fascinates me. So any kind of a movie set in that environment, I'm in almost, right away.
I love that. I love the scenery. I love the culture, and I love the mythology of that,
Yes,
which
same.
is it really get all about. I mean, when you see things about Odin and all, it's really when you actually get into it, it's very disturbing. Some of it, you know,
It,
what?
it's very visceral. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
yeah, it's heavy in places,
you
but
know.
it is absolutely fascinating. I can
Mm,
sit and listen to people discuss it and learn more and more.
I think
It's
the thing about
fascinating.
Troll Hunter that really is scary is the fact that you're wherever they are, you don't know when it might because it's so big. So they're walking through a forest and they hear a noise, and where's that coming from? And then
Mm.
all of a sudden, there it is, and they're so big that you're not aware of where they are. It's just they have to look right up. Oh no! And things that
And that
come swinging.
yeah, and that snaps you into another realm right there.
Yes,
Just
yeah,
looking at something that large suddenly right in front of you, yeah. Because
yeah.
again,
I mean,
it means we've just gone from the top of the food chain straight to the bottom.
yeah.
Express elevator to hell, right to the bottom of the food chain.
And the thing about trolls is they're not all about eating people. It's
Hmm.
that they're just so big and not very bright that even when they don't want to actually hurt you, they'll hurt you by accident because you're in their
Yeah,
way. It's just like, it's just like
that's true,
you
yeah.
tread on something. Oh, what was that?
Oh,
They don't even
sorry.
stop.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
I
that.
like that one. There was,
Yeah, it's on my list, and I've been I cheekily sort of try to watch as much as I can on the free streaming services and the movie apps when I when it comes up and available. And then after a period of time, if I'm still hitting a brick wall and I'm not finding it, and I'm not talking about like pirate websites at all. I'm just talking about
yeah,
like
yeah,
if you have a Prime Stick, you can download like Fossum and some of the movie apps for your Prime Stick
yeah,
that's all
yeah,
legal. And then they have certain movies in there that you have to watch with ads, but you can watch them for free.
yeah.
Lots of movies that I've been able to watch without having to really spend money to rent it before I'm really gonna be happy with it.
That's true.
I like the idea of, I don't mind going to a theater to see a movie that I really, really, really want to see, which is a very short list these days.
Oh God, yeah.
Um, but there are some. I mean, Project Hail Mary was one. I could, that's a whole
Oh,
nother.
I need to see. Is that worth seeing? I've seen. Is that by the same author as The Martian?
Andy Weir, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
It's
have to
it's
see that.
wonderful. Darren read the book,
Hmm.
and he was even before we heard that the movie was coming out. He said the book blew him away. I've not seen him engaged with a book story, that much in so long, and it was just so lovely to see because it was just. He said it was an amazing book, and happily, he said for the most part they stick very much to the book. So
Yeah.
and they nailed it. They did it. Amazing. Yeah, there it is. Yay.
Yeah. I
Um,
must. Yeah. I
so
have to be honest.
before
Yeah.
it's worth going to see in the theater, to be fair.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
deliberately planned ours when the schools were still in. We could have gone on the school holidays, but we didn't want to do that. So we waited until the schools were back in. And then we went on a weekday. I booked a day off work and we went to a matinee
Mm.
because there was us and then a couple and then another person. And that was it in the whole theater.
Oh, that's a good
So it
idea.
was nice. It was really private.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm it is such a wonderful movie, and I don't want to say too much because I do not want to spoil it
Okay.
if you've
Yeah.
already seen clips and
Yeah.
things already, but it is so worth it.
Yeah. I
It's
will.
so worth it. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's right up
Definitely.
there with like Close Encounters for me in terms of not in terms of necessarily, you know, similarities in a lot of things, but it's the level of emotion that I felt when we saw that um, was off the scale. Is so good, and the
Oh,
attachment to
brilliant.
the characters, which is a huge thing for me. Um, so yeah, so another movie that I really enjoy is Hell House LLC,
Oh,
and
I've
that
never heard.
yeah, that kind of like it's like a it's another passion of mine, which
Hmm.
is Halloween haunts, like professional haunts where um, you know, they have them in Disney and they have them in the States. They have them all over the place, where it's just set up like a huge fun fair inside, but it's all done in a horror theme, and you're walking through, and these things are jumping
Oh,
out at
right.
you, and you've got
Yeah.
animatronics, and it's so immersive. I've
Hmm.
never been to one, and I always wanted to go to one. But the
Oh, wow.
Hell House LLC is about a sort of a professional haunt the people set up in a house where there was a tragedy before,
Hmm.
and um, they get it all set up, and then the people turn up for the haunt, and then I don't want to say too much because again, it's well worth going into it as unaware as possible.
Hmm.
But I will say anyone with um, a sensitivity to clowns, like if clowns really freak you out, be aware of that going in. It might
Oh,
not.
right.
It's not a movie for anybody with like a clown phobia. Um,
I've actually met one person who was. We were walking down Bromley South High Street, and there
mm,
was a man came out of the Woolworths there, dressed up as a clown, and my friend, who was quite a like Londoner, and
yeah, yeah.
he literally ran across the road and into almost into a path of a car. And I
Oh,
said to
bless
him,
him.
and he's like, I can't stand clowns. I can't stand clowns. And
It's
I'd never come across that.
no, and it is just as frightening and unsettling and visceral for people as like spider phobia,
Mm, yeah.
or, you know, arachnophobia, and like for me, I've always the spiders is what does it for me. I mean, I can still watch the movie Arachnophobia, but mostly behind my hands, you know, peeking.
Yeah.
But I can watch it, and I've actually sort of probably like come a long way with spider phobia for me, but it's still very
Yeah.
much there. So,
I mean,
and again, that's why the films
clown,
in
my
Cloverfield get
si- my sister had a Pierrot doll. You know the Pierrot, like the French clown who's got
okay.
a dunce's hat type thing
I got
and
you.
black and white, and she didn't like that. That had to be put away at night time, and
Yeah,
and that makes me think of Poltergeist because that with that clown doll and the little child putting that on.
that freaked me out. And
Yeah,
I had a thing with dolls, like dolls that were like that. You know, a clown doll. No, no, no. Big no.
no, yeah,
An auntie who was an amazing artist, and she painted this beautiful oil painting of a clown's face, and it was very sweet. It was a very gentle face. It wasn't menacing looking. Um, and it was more in the style of like the hobo clowns, you know, of back in the day. And it was a beautiful painting, but it was a clown, and it was like a real close up of the face. And my mom came, you know, took it in my room and hung it in my room for me. Oh, look, you know, look what your auntie painted for you. And in the end, I had to ask her to take it out of my room because I couldn't sleep with that thing in the room.
mm,
And yet I can watch horror movies about clowns. That doesn't frighten me at all. Um, I enjoy the irony of a clown horror connection. So I do enjoy that irony greatly.
Do you
So
remember the craze about people dressing up as clowns
I was
and
gonna ask
stand
if you remembered
and
that. Yeah.
like standing just I
And
think
they
it
were
got
just like
so
standing there staring at people, like freaking them out. Yeah.
well, apparently when I was talking to a friend of mine, he said that the police were because people were getting
Mhm.
so worried about it, the police were actually arresting people. And I just had this vision of a couple of coppers but walking this bloke dressed as a clown up frog marching it, all
Yeah,
these crowds.
comedy, isn't it? It's pure
Yeah,
comedy.
it is. But a bit
Stephen King obviously twigged that
oh yeah.
that was a big phobia. So obviously writing it, which I could see,
Oh,
we has been mentioned in the chat
Tim
again.
Curry. Tim Curry as Pennywise was so good.
I love Tim Curry.
Just hello, good, Georgie. I
Oh,
think, yeah, and he did it so much better than the new one.
yeah.
I can, I can
I,
see the scariness, but I
I
still
haven't
think,
seen, is that Bill Skarsgård who's done the new one?
yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't seen his version yet, but I do like Bill Skarsgård, so I would like to watch it and sort of see how it is, but I have not seen that one yet. And PJ's just asked in the chat who remembers Freaks, and yeah,
yeah.
that is some dark stuff. That's some dark,
Mm,
and those movies are good in for that. They're very very out there.
yeah. Getting
Um,
back to the
Getting
found
back to,
footage.
I know we could just go off
Yeah,
on
yeah,
a tangent,
yeah.
talk
If
for hours.
do you remember a film called Quarantine?
Yes, is that the one with um
In that block of flats or something, and
Dustin
they're
Hoffman?
all lot. Oh, hang on, no. Maybe I'm thinking of saying it's where these people in a tenement block start
How old
getting
is it? Is
ill.
it an older one or a new one?
It's an older film, but I think that was found footage as well. It was like Record that we were watching, or Rec, but this was called I think it was called Quarantine,
Oh, Wreck,
and
yeah.
it was I think it was semi-foreign as well, and they're in this block of and they were
I
filming it,
think
and they were getting stuck in
okay,
there.
you know what? I think there is an American version of Wreck
Yeah.
because yeah, that's
That's
probably
yeah,
what you're thinking of. There's an
yeah.
American version of it. I think it's an American version.
Mm.
I haven't seen that one yet. I thought you were
Because
referring to another one that sprung to mind when you said that. And that's another type of horror movie that I love is like the sort of virus,
oh
either a zombie
yeah,
virus or a deadly virus or something like that. I love epidemiology as well, as a science, and so I've read a
mhm,
lot of nonfiction books about epidemiology, and I've read through just about everything Richard Preston has written, which is
oh yeah,
fiction and nonfiction. He wrote a fictional story called The Cobra Event, but he's also written, the nonfiction. So he wrote The Hot Zone,
I
The
read
Demon
that. Yeah,
Freezer. Oh,
I
I read The
yeah,
Hot Zone almost.
yeah,
I had a long train ride home from New York City, and I almost got like three-quarters of the way through The Hot Zone.
yeah. Hmm.
I love that book.
The reason I got that was I was working at GSK, well, Welcome at the time, and my friend, who was my immediate supervisor, he was doing immunology at for his degree at work, and he was telling me all these wonderful things you can get, and one of them was where the body virtually declares war on its own DNA, and
Mm.
it starts virtually destroying your whole body. And then we were talking about different things. And he said, oh, have you read that? You want to read that? Because it went
Yeah,
into the whole of what's the thing? What was Ebola
yeah.
and
The
and
hemorrhagic viruses. Yeah,
and Marburg
yeah.
and
Marburg is
how
even scarier.
yeah they do what they want to do or what happens and then they go. I love all that
Which is
sort of
kind
stuff.
of which is why they're so contagious, because if you think about it, a virus that kills its host too quickly is kind of like, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because you need to be able to spread your, you know, your virus. So the fact that they're so highly contagious is what's so fascinating about them. And again, I just, that's where Wendology actually came from, is because I have so many ologies that I've always been fascinated with, you know, just about every single one. So I'm like a total science nerd.
Did you remember that game that was big a while back called Epidemic?
No,
where
no.
you were trying to, the object of the game was get everybody in the world contaminated, and the trick, everybody was going for things like make it this, make it that, and the trick is not to make it fatal very quickly. The trick was to spread in a way that didn't kill people, so it wasn't alerting the authorities, and it was quite amazing. Then you learn a hell of a lot about diseases, because I remember seeing a lecture on, I think it was on TED Talk, and they were saying that every virus doesn't want to be absolutely fatal because it won't spread.
Exactly.
That's, you know, at the end, eventually they will become like the common cold. That's what they want to do, because they'll spread to so many people. If you start killing everything off. And as an aside, something else that really interests me is the thing about bats, the fact that bats can carry so much, but they don't die of it. And they put that down to them flying because of their metabolism. And I found that really, but because viruses and bacteria work so fast, it means that a bat's immune system can wipe it out. But what bats aren't very good at surviving is mold. They can die of mold diseases because that works slow, so their bodies aren't able to cope from it. Which is, but
it's all fascinating. It's all just utterly fascinating. So and PJ's just mentioned an excellent one, which is based on a book by Michael Crichton, who is another one of my absolute favorite authors of all time, and that's The Andromeda Strain. The movie for that was actually very good. I
had the book, then I had the audio book, and at the same time I was watching the film, and I thought, oh yeah, that is really disturbing, really.
Yeah, it is. It's and that's what it's another type of horror that I really love, is that sort of one that really gets gets into your brain, and it's really sort of unsettling. So, but getting back to found footage, Hell House LLC is a fun. It's just a fun found footage type film, and if you like Halloween haunts and you like that type of vibe, it's a decent watch. It's maybe not the best movie I've ever seen in the genre, but it is up there. It's my top one for that particular subgenre of found footage. So like the funhouse going awry, you know, a murderer in the funhouse, a murderer in the haunt, you know, that kind of thing. There's another movie about that as well, and I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but if I think of it, I'll let you know. But Hell LLC for me is the top of that particular type of horror movie.
That's on my list now.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. There are sequels to it. They're not bad. They're not bad. I have to admit, I at times can have a pretty low bar for found footage, because I just love it so much. There's some that I've just like put on and been like, no, and walk away from. But there are some that they might not be as good as the original, but I still enjoy, you know, watching the follow-ups. So that is one of the ones that I've watched a couple of the sequels to it, a couple of the follow-ups. So that was good. So found footage wise, we mentioned Rec. And then there's another style which I love because this brings us into the very much the present.
Mhm.
These came out during like shortly after the COVID era, where we were all stuck at home. Everybody was, um, uh, using webcams to talk to each other. People
Oh,
who had
right.
never used a webcam in their life
Yeah.
were suddenly becoming familiar with how to use it, and that was the way we all communicated. So a movie that came out, that is technically under the sort of found footage umbrella in like on sites like Letterbox, they sort of group it under there. Um, is called Host, and it's about six friends who hire a medium to hold a séance via Zoom, good old Zoom, during
Mhm.
lockdown. But they get far more than they bargained for as things quickly go wrong. When an evil spirit starts invading their homes, they begin to realize they might not survive the night. So it's great because it's half documentary and sort of half found footagey, because you're watching them through their webcams on a Zoom chat call,
Oh.
and things are happening in the background to them that you're watching live happening, and all the other guests in the Zoom call are watching it as well, and it's all happening to them individually in different ways. So that one was really good. That's way up there in some of my favorite modern. um
Oh, on that genre, years ago,
mhm.
I went to see a film with my friend, and that was about a group of friends who had colluded. There's a girl on there, they were all on cameras, and it was all about social media. And they'd virtually driven this girl to suicide. And you could see her, it was like her taking her revenge on all of them. And I can't remember what that was called.
Yeah,
And that was because it was just, you were sitting
I
there
think I
watching
know the
them.
one you mean.
Yeah. Is that very similar to that? Because all you saw was like the screens of each of these people, and they were
Yeah,
going through the, yeah,
think I have to really rewatch the one that you're talking about. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I've probably seen that one because it's something about it sounds familiar. But I would say it's probably kind of similar because
yeah.
in they have this medium come in, and
Oh,
allegedly it's kind of like for a joke, they get together and they hire this medium to sort of hold a séance on a Zoom call. And of
oh,
course,
God.
the that comes through
Mhm.
infect call and gets to everybody through the Zoom call and comes into their individual homes where they're sat, and things start happening to them. So it's really good, and it's very different. It's one of the best ones I've seen of that type.
Wow. That,
That was a
that,
really good
that,
one.
that, the idea of a spirit being able to do that's actually quite disturbing in itself before something being able to infect. It's almost like
It is.
a spiritual virus. It's just, oh,
Yeah.
and I bet that
Yeah.
doesn't end well.
Yeah.
How old
No.
is that one?
No.
Is that
Definitely not.
is that a
That
modern
was
one?
2020.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it
Oh
came out in
yeah, through the
2020.
in the
It
yeah,
was based on the COVID one time when everybody was sort of stuck at
that's it.
home.
Of course, yeah.
So
You
I thought it
just
was a really clever concept. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a found footage that I liked, that I actually forgot about, that I found on Letterboxd when I was adding some movies in, and that was called Nosferatu.com.
Oh, I haven't heard. Oh,
And yeah, it's okay. It's not too bad. It's about strange disappearances have occurred somewhere in France, and a bunch of paranormal fans decide to break into an old building to find out what has happened. So it's very much, there's so many of these types of found footage where
mhm.
it's like a ghost hunter group. They go into an abandoned building, shit goes down, they get killed off by something, and sometimes it's a monster, sometimes it's a demon or a spirit. So there's loads and loads and loads of these. But this one I quite liked. the first thing that caught my attention was the title Nosferatu, because that's one of my favorite. I love the original film, and I love that style of vampire because I thought those much more frightening,
Oh,
than the
absolutely.
humanized vampires, although I love them as well.
Hmm.
Um, and like Salem's Lot has a Nosferatu like vampire, and that's
Yes.
that so good in my
I
view.
About Salem's Lot. I watched the TV series first, and then I read the book, and I was
Mm.
quite disappointed because Stephen King's vampire isn't a Nosferatu. He is like almost a typical Dracula,
Yeah.
the Eastern European. And I
Mm.
really thought that the movie adaptation of the vampire was
Yeah.
Mr. Barlow was so much more frightening
He
than the
was.
one.
He was, and that is an example where it's kind of gone the reverse, isn't it? Because sometimes we
Mm,
say, "Oh, it was a lot better," and they kind of drop the ball a little bit with the film. But I've read loads and loads and loads of King in the back in the day, of his early stuff. And ironically, I didn't actually read Salem's Lot
mhm,
before I saw the miniseries, and then I didn't really bother reading that one because I
mhm,
really vibed with the miniseries version
mhm,
and vampires. So I don't think I would have really gotten as much out of the story because I
mhm,
that imprinted on my brain.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, so this one caught my attention because of the title. It's not the greatest. It's not the best thing you'll ever watch in the found footage genre, but it's very good. It's very entertaining. From what I remember, I haven't watched it in quite a while. It's from 2016, but it's fun. It's sort of if you like your found footage, it's definitely one you know to, to watch. Um, there's another one. Let me go back to my list a sec. That I just spotted here. Just waiting for my page to load. Okay, this one is really controversial. It's called The Black Hills Movie, and it's just been living on YouTube. It's not a movie that I'm aware that came
Ah,
out
right. Okay.
in the theater or anything. It's just one of those movies that just turned up on YouTube. Um,
Oh,
and it is only I've shared it with some friends who I know, like Neil and I when we did our streams together. I sent it to him
yeah.
to watch, and I thought he was going to shoot me because he was he was. Why did you send me that? That was horrible. Um, it's very much an acquired taste. It's if you love your found footage to the point of obsession, it's definitely one
Mm,
to watch. But it's definitely the stereotypical found footage, janky camera, dude
mhm.
alone in the woods. You don't really ever, see a lot. It goes in a weird direction, towards the end. So it's like I couldn't I couldn't not watch it. I watched through the whole thing, and at first I was like, okay, this is all right, this isn't bad. And then I thought about it some more, and then I was reading some comments of what people thought of it, and I was like, oh, what did I miss? I thought because people really hated it. Some people really,
Mhm.
really hated it. When I sent it to Neil, it wasn't he was not up for the janky camera work. He said it just did his head in.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's that one is more very much an acquired taste.
Mhm.
I'd be interested to know anyone who liked it or watched it and tolerated it. You know,
Mhm.
but it is kind of interesting, and the way that they've done, like if you look at the cover on the letterboxed image for Black Hills movie, it's very Blair
Oh,
Witchy, which is what drew me to it. So they were playing around with the Blair Witch vibe when they made it, it almost sometimes feels like it's even a piss take of found footage. It's almost like they're just taking the piss a little bit and making it deliberately stupid. But But yeah, but that's sort of one that I watched and kind of remembered
Oh,
after.
hmm.
In terms of what you've watched, what other types of found footage have you watched at all, or have you had time to watch? Because I know you're newer to the
I've
genre.
seen, so I've seen Trollhunter, I've seen the Blair Witch, and then and I saw Cloverfield. I did a lot of watching of videos around the Cloverfield because I had this idea: are all these Cloverfields really the same thing? And they're not. They aren't. They're linked. There isn't really a link there. Apparently, it was meant to be in the same universe, but they weren't
They're
all
playing
linked.
around a lot with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah,
there's like street names that are deliberately coded. So if you kind of know what you're looking for, you realize that they're actually linking back to Cloverfield and things like that. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a whole rabbit hole, definitely. I haven't seen any of the sequels. I will definitely probably catch up with them eventually, just to sort of
Mhm.
watch them.
I
But I've
think
been really protective of my enjoyment of the original movie, so I kind of don't want to mess that up.
no, no, no. I liked. I watched the number two. I found that in itself interesting. I just gave up with the third one. I just thought, no, I'm not. This doesn't do anything for me. I don't think I watched the whole film. Like you say, Blair Witch, I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
I I don't. I think I wasn't able to go to the cinema a lot after that one, so I didn't see the second Blair Witch. I'm not even sure what happened in that one.
I kind of watched one. I think it's supposed to be the second
Hmm.
part of it, but I don't. I'd have to look it up. But I can just remember that it just didn't really grab me as much. It just didn't have the same feel as the original for me.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm just checking up, see which films I've actually.
Yeah, it's why I've gotten back into Letterbox because I have another one for you.
Hmm.
When you finish having a look, I do have another one I found.
Yeah, if you could show.
Enjoyed. Ganjiam Haunted Asylum. It's
Oh,
another sort of found footagey. Um, a group of people lost in a go into an old asylum and are preyed upon basically
oh,
by spirits. And that is a foreign film for us, so it's subtitled, but um, I quite enjoy subtitle films. I don't really have a problem with them as long as I'm really invested in the story. Ganjiam Haunted Asylum says the crew of a horror web series travels to an abandoned asylum for a live broadcast, but they encounter much more than expected as they move deeper inside the nightmarish old building. Um, I've heard people say about this that it was a little bit underwhelming. That there are definitely, and I can account for the fact that there are definitely some decent scares in it.
hmm,
Um, it is a bit um, long in between, like you're following this group of people. I didn't particularly like. I didn't find any of them particularly um, engaging enough that I was just like, I hope that one makes it, or they're all interesting characters, but if I just need a fix, that's one of the ones that I'll go to because I thought it was really well done for for what it is. So
hmm,
that's another good one, and that's again a more modern one. Well, modernish. That was 2018
hmm.
that came out. So yeah, so
I've
it's
actually,
flooded basically with a lot of
yeah,
footage now.
there was a film that I just found it on here, and I didn't think of it as found footage. But do you ever remember a film called Hardcore Henry?
No, that's a new one on me.
That is a film where my friend, I used to go to the cinema with him because he was disabled. I was his helper. But after COVID, we didn't go outside. But there was a film, and that was in the first person. So it seemed to be filmed from his perspective.
Okay.
And we couldn't watch that because it was just jumping off buildings, and it was just too much. And he was almost like shooting and everything. If you imagine John Wick, if John Wick had a camera on his head, on his forehead,
oh my god,
and that's what that, and
was he doing like parkour or like where he's jumping off? Okay.
And that was one of the criticisms of the film. I think what's his name? That film, BBC film critic, big guy.
Kermode.
Yeah, he just said no. I'm sure it was what him and someone else said no. That was, and I just watched no. That was taking the thing to a whole level of extreme.
What's that one called? I'm gonna jot that down.
Hardcore Henry. It was yeah.
Okay,
I just because
I'll check that one out.
I think I've watched quite a few films and I wasn't aware that they were what they call found footage or first person perspective. So yeah, I just looked up the
He just put in the chat. He said that.
Yeah. What did you think?
Oh yeah, and my husband's put in the chat. Some TV series experimented with found footage style X-Files with the Cops episode, which is actually interestingly enough, when Cops first came out, that TV show Cops, where you were getting like the found footagey thing, that took off. That was the shit, that show. I mean, everybody watched it. It was so exciting. It was so fascinating because it was actual footage. It wasn't something that was made up. But again, that hit on that style where you're right in the middle of the action.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked through the list and I think a lot of the films I didn't realise were found footage were. So I've seen things like VHS. And another one I've looked up was the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Oh, the Poughkeepsie tapes. Poughkeepsie. Yeah. I know Poughkeepsie well.
Yeah. I saw that because someone said we got to see it. And I thought, I didn't realise that. It's right. You watch these, I think, because found footage is such a broad thing where you get that really moving around with the camera and then you get the more subtle. So I still like it. And I must admit, watching it, and I've got loads of video cameras that I've had over the years, I keep thinking, I've got a lot of spooky places around me. I should walk around.
It does give you that little itch to sort of go out with your camera. It really does. It definitely did me, and that's why I think I have much more patience with some of the quote unquote found footage sort of low budget ones that you'll see pop up on YouTube and things like that, because I get it. I get how exciting it is and how attractive it is to just go out and shoot some raw footage and explore just an old building.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if I was allowed to go down to Fort Amherst down in Chatham, which is an old Napoleonic fort that they used to defend the dockyard. And there's I haven't been, and I'd love to go to their ghost tour at Halloween. And they take you down the fort and they tell you get, I think there's a couple of, one is like the sanitized one and the other one is just how bad, even things like people that they were lowering a cannon down and it fell on someone and that
God,
and it's very interesting. And as Darren said, that all of these TV programs have done bits and pieces like it. And like I said to you, that the second series of Battlestar Galactica, in some of the bits where they were into a battle scenario, they used that, so it looked like it was filmed embedded into the people. So you'd see the fighter planes flying up, the spaceships flying over, and you'd get
Okay,
someone
yeah,
running underneath, and
yeah,
it really, you thought, oh, that looks real. It just,
cool.
so just to say, Darren's right, a lot of them have tried it.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember an X-File done like that.
yeah.
But,
They did have one. We just rewatched the whole X-Files series for the second or third time now, and there is an episode where they, because at the time that the series was going out at the time, Cops was like a big show. It was just like the thing. It was the
yeah.
big thing then. So they did a Cops episode crossover with like an X-Files thing, and you see Scully and Mulder are now in this episode of Cops.
Oh,
So it's really cool. It's a fun one.
Oh, Darren's just mentioned
Oh yeah,
the McPherson tapes. That I think I've heard of that. I'd
yeah.
have to have a
How
look.
about that? Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
and there's something. I mean, there was a MASH episode. Do you ever watch MASH?
Many. Yeah, I've watched MASH for
Do
many
you
years.
do you remember the one that was done from the patient's perspective?
I've probably seen it, but I can't bring
And
it
that
back at the
where
moment.
that it would be like, it was filmed, but it was almost like that they were moving backwards and forwards, and it was just from
Okay,
his.
I got you. Yeah,
And
it did sort of.
it wasn't like the normal MASH where it looks really filmed really well. You
They did
just
it
get,
almost like a documentary style.
yeah, while
Yeah.
you were the patient, and that made me, oh, that's because I think that was really well done. You know, seeing it from, you're so used to the characters, then you see as a patient sees them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found that.
Yeah, you're right. That's absolutely true. I had totally forgotten about that, but yeah, that is really cool.
PJ, I keep watching
Oh,
it.
don't do that, PJ. It's
Yeah.
I think when we rewatched it, we were just finding that it really stood up well, considering it was made, back in the late 90s. So so I think you can definitely, with a modern eye, you're going to see through a lot of things,
Oh
when you
yeah.
watch a lot of these series. But I think because the X-Files is one of those really special series for both of us, that, we're sort of like, we're in a forever honeymoon phase with the X-Files. It's the same with Buffy, the same
Oh
with,
yeah.
quite a few series that we love. So I can't really, unless it's something really glaring that really takes me out when I watch it now, it I don't tend to notice too much.
No, I think that what I found when I watched the X-Files, they were so enthusiastic, even when Scully was being the yin to his yang.
Yeah.
She would, the way that they were doing it was really enthusiastic for what they were doing. Whereas
Yeah.
you'll find some series you can see being jaded, but they really were, and I enjoyed that. And
Yeah.
also, when you get on with the characters and they work so well, I find, though you don't seem to pick holes in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that with Stargate, the series, the way that every one of those characters was able to interacted so well and moved the show along. If you sat there and thought about it, there were a few things, but no, I did. You were just, no, this is really good. I'm not.
Yeah. 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 No, I think, and PJ is saying it's more the procedural stuff. It's not so much that it's the dated element, but it's the procedural stuff, as in, like, they wouldn't do that normally. But I think,
yeah,
I think that's definitely the case. So I think you almost have to suspend belief for the whole series in that case, because
Oh yeah.
Because it's all quite theoretical anyway, in having them together. But yeah, I can understand that, and I think when you're watching something that's based around the FBI, there might be a part of you that does want it to be a lot more realistically rooted,
Yeah.
in procedural stuff. But I think maybe they can't pull off some of the stories that they would be able to pull off if they get too embedded with.
I think some of the things. I mean, I recently started watching NCIS again because I got the series 1 to 5 for £1.
Oh wow!
And I sat there, and some of the things, because I worked in a lab, and Abby's, we need this in that amount of time. Okay, Gibbs, I'll do it. And every time she's out, I think, yeah, right, because lab equipment always works first time. And even when you do a whole range of tests, you have tests and you just standards and controls, and you do about 15 samples, and you get to your last standard, and it fails, and you think, oh. And I think she's amazing. That's the only thing. But other than that, no.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you can see, you can see how that would sort of take you out a little bit because you have that experience.
I wondered with the found footage, is it because someone's got an idea of a story that needs found footage, or is it some of them? It's using modern technology that's driving it. Because people, it's the fact that we can do so much on a mobile phone now. Whether that drives the story, but
I think it's convenience. I think having all this technology at the tip of our fingers in our back pockets, opens a lot of doors and makes it a lot easier to film things. So maybe that's definitely fed into, why we have so many. You mentioned something else too, and it slipped my mind. Sorry. What else did you say about you said, the question you asked was, it's just gone out of my head now.
I think I just did about.
I'm like, I have the attention of a fruit fly. Ask me a question, I go off on a tangent, and I forget the question.
What if you found footage though? Do you think that having actors that you've never seen that are like new actors, because most of them are, does that help? Because I think it does.
I agree. Yeah, it does help. It does help because you're not distracted by a familiar face in that way. And even though I love movies with actors that I know well and that I admire and that I enjoy the work of. But as you pointed out, like with a lot of these films, because it's people you don't know, it feels more real. It feels more like you're watching something that's actually happening.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is why I like the original Alien, because I didn't know any of those. And they look like people I'd meet on the bus going to school.
They're like people that you work with. Yeah. They're like people. Exactly.
And I think that when you have a film where you've got celebrities, something that always goes through my mind, that person's not going to die. That person, unless of course it's Sean Bean.
Oh, bless him. Yeah, poor Sean.
Someone said to me, I was just waiting for him to die in the Yorkshire tea bags. So the hound comes out.
Yeah. Oh God, that scene just never leaves me with all the arrows sticking out of him. They broke my heart that day.
Bless him, But
I know.
So with the found footage, because the characters and the actors aren't known, they're not preloaded with what you expect them to be.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to come up with what. Although there were one or two, I think in As Above, Down Below, I recognised her, the leading actress,
I
and I
think I've definitely
recognised
seen her in something
her
else. Yeah.
her boyfriend, and I thought I'd seen you before, but other
Mm,
than that,
mm,
but
yeah.
I found that getting back to I really did like that in as much as the way that they were really getting into the bits on the wall, all the translating it, and the bit where it's abandoned hope will enter here, and I'm thinking
Yeah. And then
that
you're
could
going through the seven circles of hell. You know, you're
Dante,
going,
yeah,
it was so good. Yeah, I
yeah,
loved
and
it. I loved it. It was just
and I love the way that she worked that all out, and and
exactly.
the bit where that that cave, that part where that treasure is behind it, and those guys pulling at the gate. But no,
It's a
I think
test.
you
Don't do
shouldn't
it.
do that.
No,
Yeah,
don't do it.
yeah,
Yeah. You know something really awful is going to happen as soon as they start doing that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if they were, what sort of found footage film would you like to see them do?
That's a good question. God, we've seen so much already. It's quite hard to think of something I haven't already seen. I mean, we have a lot of space horror. Have we had a lot of found footagey type space horror? Have we had, like shot in a sort of documentary style? Or I'm sure we have. I can't think of the titles of the films, but
Do you know, I
that could be.
I know you've just said that, and as soon as you said that, I couldn't think of one. But I'm thinking, if you watch someone playing a computer game,
Mm,
a let's play, say, and you watch something like Alien Isolation, that is very much like it.
cool.
Where that, if you ever get a chance to see Alien Isolation, that game is truly amazing because your object, you play Ripley's daughter who is trying to fight. They tell her, your mother, the ship, they found the flight box, the black box for the spaceship. You have to go and get it. So they
Mm,
go all the way to this big space station called Sevastopol, which is falling to pieces, and she has to survive on it. And you're running along corridors, and it actually has camera jiggle. And
so
then
it
the
has
alien,
that same vibe.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the alien's intelligence is amazing because it uses all the things on your computer. If you've got your microphone open, it can hear you breathing.
Cool.
And if you're
That's really cool.
because my best friend phoned me up when I was playing it, and he goes, "What are you playing?" And I said, "Alien Isolation." He goes, "Really? Have you done anything to the settings?" No. So he shouts out down the phone, "He's over here!" And the alien, and I was hiding in the filing cabinet, and it just came, pulls the doors open. But yeah,
That's a good
but
one.
I agree with you. I'd love a found footage in a space thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if there has been one.
Yeah.
I would
I bet
also
I bet there has.
yeah,
I am just, once you become ancient, you can't remember anything. That's why I
yeah,
I rely on Letterbox now.
yeah.
Um,
I think that
what
I'd
was I
like
going
to
to
see
say?
one
But
in
yeah, that'd probably be one I don't like. I don't think we've had as many maybe in that
no,
environment.
no, I can't think of. But I would like to see one in a pyramid. Have we had one in a pyramid where people exploring?
Oh, that's good. I
That
don't
would be
know.
really good
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
you've got
definitely.
underneath something lots of traps and things.
Hmm.
I think there have been a few things like that, but I don't think there's been a found footage one. I'll be going through looking
Mm.
later on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. It becomes an addiction. Trust me. Um, so there's another one that just sprung to mind that I oh, my letterbox just being weird a minute, but it's called Deadware, and again that has to do with like a computer. If once this is finished deciding whether I'm human. It's going to let me. I don't always feel human, so that could be a problem.
So what was that one you said?
And are we not? Are we not? Oh, it's really chewing on this one. It's a security check. It's doing like, you know, sometimes it dips out and then it'll say, oh, we're verifying that you're a legit source. So I can't really see it at the moment.
Right, yeah.
But
yeah.
I have. It's called Deadware.
Deadware.
Oh, here we go. Oh no. It's still being weird. Why is it being weird?
Oh, is this? I found it on my iPad.
I don't know if you can see it on your end.
I can see.
Here it is. I got it. 2021.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it says, in 1999, two friends use a webcam for the first time and stumble across a mysterious browser game that may be haunted. So this one screams like vintage Gen X vibes. Because you look at the computer in the graphical image, you can see this is set in 1999, so like the birth of not long after, you know, everything was just starting then with the internet. So it has some great throwback vintage vibes to it, and that wasn't bad. I enjoyed that.
I'll have to see that. Yeah, I love all that sort of
That's
stuff.
weird. So that you reminded me of it when you were talking about the game concept. And then going back to the games, what I've discovered is, as much as I would love to have like the setup to play games, because I did always enjoy, from the Gen X perspective, I always enjoy going to the arcades, you know, and playing.
Yeah.
Not only the because video games were just only in arcades for years, so I used to love to play those. So I forgot where I was going with that, but never mind. So yeah, oh, I know what it was. But what I would love to be able to do now is to be able to play like the horror games and things like that. But I don't have the setup for that, and I just feel like quite overwhelmed by what I would need to play and the cost of getting it all together and having the right kind of. I don't have the resource. My system does not have the resources at the moment to be able to run a game like that. So I'd need a lot of upgrading. That would be fairly costly. So. What I was going to say is, on YouTube, I like watching people play them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Darren said he's got a game, a found footage, The Pit, set in Diverted Valleys, in a Diverted Valleys.
Oh, a Deserted Valleys coal mine. Cool.
I think I'm sure I've heard of that.
I can't. Yeah, PJ thinks he saw that one.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. I don't dare do any research while we're streaming because my system is quite an old one. So it'll probably crash everything out if I open up another tab. I don't dare touch anything. So I've only got the one tab open for Letterboxd at the moment. That's all I'm prepared to risk.
Yeah.
Oh, he said, I just made it up. I might write the story. Yeah.
I think
that's actually a good fodder for a story, definitely. Because I mean, that goes right into the cave horror genre, which is another one that I absolutely love.
Yeah, especially if you've had a bit of a cave in somewhere or something.
Quatermass, yeah, definitely.
Or a pit system that the government closed down, and you wonder why, and someone stumbles along it, and they were trying to hide something down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there was a game actually called Atomfall, and it's a British type Fallout where the Sellafield supposedly goes radioactive, But what actually happened was the scientists there were messing around, and they broke into another dimension. And
Cool.
it's really like a British type humour. So
Mm.
you can find skeletons, and they're the three guys from Last of the Summer Wine in a bath on
Oh.
the hillside. And it's like you've got all the weird and wonderful characters from sitcoms up in the north area. It is really funny, but very dark.
Yes, we're getting into Doctor Who territory now.
Oh yeah,
Pertwee. Yeah,
if
getting to a
you
Pertwee episode there.
yeah, and if you need anything, you go down into the pit, and there's this miner there who'll sell you anything. You think,
Yeah.
why have you got submachine guns? Oh,
Yes.
was there a found footage about the Dostoevsky Path or
Yes,
something?
thank you. That's the other one I was going to mention, and I kept forgetting. Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah, I'm
The
sure I've
Dyatlov
seen
Pass.
that. Yeah,
I have seen that, and I did enjoy that. I thought that
hmm,
was
'cause
one of the earlier ones that I watched after Blair Witch that I found like on Prime Video or somewhere. Yeah, we're getting into Doctor Who territory now.
yeah, I watched that. I watched about that pass, and then I thought, well, you get to think what might have happened. Then they tell you that it could have been the cold that did that. That if you get
Mm.
too cold, that hypothermia can do some very, very strange things to you. And then mix into that an avalanche, because when the snow
Wow.
is moving so fast and going down,
Mm.
I think the way that it comes down, it can do some terrible things to you. But
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
just what actually happened there.
That was really good. I've only seen that. I think I've only seen that once, and funnily enough, that was on my mind again recently because it keeps popping up. It's one of those movies that just hangs around for free on
Hmm.
Prime, I think, like all the time. So I'm
Yeah.
always tempted to just go back and watch it because there's some that just stay free for
Hmm.
ages, and then there's other ones that I think, oh, that's gone free. I'll watch that. And I put it in my watch list, and then all of a sudden it goes back to pay again, and I'm like, drat,
I
I
know.
should have watched it.
Well, it's always the way,
So
isn't it?
that happened with
Or-
Terrifier. That's how I finally was able to watch Terrifier because it went for free. It went free, and I
Hmm.
just jumped on it.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch the second one, Terrifier 2?
I think I'm waiting to get. I was hoping that one was going to go free as well, but I have to be
I
honest. I love Art the Clown.
yeah,
I absolutely
I
love Art the Clown.
I think they did like you got a certain amount they gave you to watch, and I watched that first bit. I thought, no, I don't. No, that's a bit. I think I might
Yeah.
feeling a bit queasy at the time. I thought, no, I don't want to watch that. It's just,
It's not even normally like a genre that I would. I don't mind it. I don't mind gore. It
no.
done in context with a story. I don't mind
Hmm.
it at all. Um, the the Terrifier thing I avoided for a long time because I had heard so much about it and the certain scene, in the first
Hmm.
one that I thought, no, I don't. If I watch it, I need to be able to connect in some other way. I'm not going to watch it just for the gore and
Hmm.
just for the sort of torture porn element.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it just for that. But when I started to see so many clips of Art the Clown and all,
Hmm.
and how popular he became, even without having seen any of the Terrifier movies, I just immediately connected with his character, and I just thought he's awesome. I have to watch these
Yeah.
movies because I love art. So when we went to Comic-Con last summer,
Hmm.
there was a cosplayer at the clown, so I was just like, I need a picture. It was so funny. It was like 8 years old again. I just love that character. So I suffered through the first one. And he's the actor that plays Art makes that makes it watchable. for me.
Mm.
It's not something I would normally. It's something. It's just I'm hooked. You know.
Yeah,
I will
I
eventually
must.
watch all of them for completion of the character. I know the fourth one is going to be the final one, I think now.
Yeah, when I watched the first one, I found he would be very good. He's very expressive. The as you say, the character itself is so expressive. And that's what I like about it.
He's
I love the
wonderful.
makeup, and I love the way that could be a very good mime. It's just yeah, just I say I used to watch all the
Physical acting.
yeah, I used to watch all the torture porn. But as my ex said to me one day, it gets so bad, it no longer is frightening.
Yeah,
It
it's
just washes
gratuitous
over
after a
you.
while.
The
Yeah.
horror films that make us jump are the ones that make your mind, you'll just not just jump scares, but that feeling, the build up of letting your mind work what could be done, and the music, because sound is
Mm.
so much in a horror film to me. But that's what,
Yes. Yes.
and
The
that's why I
sound
think
and then also the score, if there's a score in it as well. So, but yeah, like that's one of the things that again with found footage,
yes,
because you are not able to always trust your eyes because the
mm,
camera is moving around, everything else comes online, so there's sounds that you're listening for. And like watching Cloverfield, the sound in that movie is incredible. The things that you're hearing in the background, and the cars honking, and the screaming, and
mm,
the monster roaring in the background, and those are all so familiar. Those
mm.
sounds, and
Yeah,
it just bombards your senses. So yeah, so
yeah.
I do like the sound element, definitely.
Definitely, to me, that is, as you said, because there's so much sound going on, your mind is trying to filter it. Watch, there's something going on. I'm listening. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to watch, and you're there, and you're seeing the people there get anxious, so you feel anxious,
Mm,
and and the way that they react to each other, like the guy who wants to get back to his girlfriend, and
yeah,
part of you thinking, no, you can't, and you're with them, but another part is thinking, yeah, well, he wants to, and
you
they're
would,
trying to
yeah,
pull
you
him
would
back.
totally do
And
it. Yeah, if
yeah,
your loved one was there and
yeah,
you would go, you would go. So yeah, it
uh,
it's very
you know,
relatable.
oh god, yeah, it just is. I say the sound of those and the filming and the fact that
You
you've got,
identify a lot with
mm,
characters in found footage, I think, in that regard, in a way, because it does draw you into what's happening to them. You know you can't step back, you can't look away. You're immersed in that environment.
and I think with, I say with the Cloverfield, with the, because of the way it was filmed, and they were going across the bridge, and you were like, you
Yeah,
could hear something in the back. Where is it going to come from? What's it? Where is it? And that, you could hear the cables going. And
yeah, clang. You can hear the cables go
yeah,
in,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it, ooh, and even
Oh, it
when
was
that
terrifying.
that bit where they're running down and that tank goes and it just stomps on it like that. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and Hud, the sort of comic relief character in it, that's running around with the camera. He sadly doesn't make it. He was. I didn't really click with his character right away. I thought he was a little bit annoying, but he is sort of the comic relief character. He's like the funny one in
yeah.
everybody's friend group. We have
Oh, yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
got a funny one. So he's kind of like the slightly, you know, um, off kilter, clown character, and he
yeah,
he is quite funny in it. He's very good. But when
mm,
he's eaten, by the monster, when the monster
yeah.
like attacks him,
Oh, yeah,
that was a
yeah,
cool scene because it's the first time we actually see that, like you were describing with Troll Hunter, where he looks up all the way up and he sees
yeah.
this height of this thing, and he's just he instead of running away, he's just frozen on the spot, and then it attacks
Yeah.
him. So yeah, Roll Hood.
And if you go back to As Above, Down Below, how some of those died, and some of the with the guy that they were you because I watched that twice, and I watched between them. I watched one of these things where someone was going through it, and you get that guy, the little throwaway things like the bloke who went missing
Yeah.
that they were talking about, and they find him, and he's just standing there, isn't
And
he?
he's weird,
And that,
yeah.
and that moment where he just grabs that girl after she's already healed her arm, and he's bashing her. Oh,
Yeah.
And the bloke in the car, and when the phone goes, do you remember the phone's ringing? I'm thinking, how's their
Yes.
phone down there?
How was their phone down there?
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the car, and then you think, hang on, and then when the car and that bloke gets pulled into it, and you think, ooh,
PJ made me laugh then. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Definitely me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely the weird friend. But what was I going to say? Yeah, and when I was watching some discussions about As Above, So Below, it became apparent that a lot of those things were actually because each character was going through their own sort of purgatory. So things were coming back to haunt them that they were guilty about. So like the guy that's in the car that's on fire, he left his friend, something happened, and he must have left his friend behind. His friend burned to death in the car. So he's reliving that. That's like his sin, his, so it's great. There's so many layers to that. It's brilliant.
Definitely. Yeah, I thought it was... And I must admit, at the end of that, when I first thought, I was waiting for like a twist. And when they walked away and it was over, I thought, I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing I like about that movie is that in the end, when they come up out of the sewer and everything's upside down, so you're left to wonder, have they come back out and it's just the camera angle trying to trick you, or have they come into another dimension? Have they died and have they come into another, are they coming out, into another world? Is the world going to be different now to them? And they leave that quite open-ended, so that's quite creepy. It's kind of assumed, I think, that they're back in what we all think of as our normal world.
Yeah.
So, but there have been people have opined that it could be that it was left open because perhaps they came. There's something else waiting for them that they haven't seen yet. They've come back out into a totally different incarnation of the world as they knew it. So that's kind of fun to think about.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I don't remember. I think I remember that coming out of the cinema, but I think I must have missed that. I remember it being talked about. Yeah.
I can't remember it coming out in the cinema, but even if it had, I might have just, not aware of it.
I think some of, I mean, I always thought every movie came to every movie cylinder, but that's not the case, is it? There's a lot of films that I see on, say, Prime or Netflix, and I think they say they're at the cinema. I think, well, I never saw that, and then it would say, but not in every cinema.
It was it was like a limited release. Yeah.
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 Hmm.
Yeah. So, I'm going to get better now that I've sort of resurrected Letterboxd, because I've always got a movie on, like on the weekends if I'm cleaning or if I'm doing something. And one of the things I like to do is, because I eat a lot of like salad veg and raw veg. We buy like a huge load of veg on a Saturday, and then on Sunday that's my thing. So because it takes so long to hand chop all the veg, because we have a very tiny kitchen, so there's no room for like appliances to like have like a big food processor or anything.
And
I do like the organic tactile element of hand preparing all the food anyway. It just
Mm.
feels quite you know, quite cool to do it that way. So I just hand chop everything, and while I'm doing all that and prepping everything for the week, I bring my tablet in the kitchen, and then I watch something off of Amazon Prime, and it's always a horror movie. It might not always be found footage, but it'll be like one that I've sort of vetted a little bit and thought, I'll put that on, and then that keeps me company while I'm prepping my food. So it's like horror 24/7.
Yeah, I must admit, I used
If
to
I'm not
use a
watching it,
food.
I'm reading it.
No, when I used to have a food processor, my mum said, "Time you wash all that up, put it away. You might as well do it by hand." And she's right.
It's
It
She
actually
is
is. It,
absolutely.
it is so much easier to chop it because I do lots of slow cooking for us. I do a
Yeah,
big casserole and I peel it all, and that goes into our wormery. So they
mhm,
have the peelings apart, and then that's what
nice.
I do. And it is actually a lot easier than getting a food processor out, chopping it, peeling it.
Oh,
Once you've still got to peel it, you've got to cut it
the
up
thing
to
that
go in
I got
there.
into juicing for a while as well, and the thing that what's that?
No, so I'm fine. I didn't say anything.
Oh, what I was going to say is like cleaning it is worse than just like you said, like hand chopping it. I actually enjoy the meditative feeling of just hand chopping everything by hand because you just get lost
Oh,
in it.
oh, you know what? I thought I was the only one. I'm sitting there
No,
cutting
Darren
carrots.
uses this. Yeah, Darren makes loads of stuff in our slow cooker as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the feel of like cutting vegetables like that, and just especially the carrots and
Yeah. No,
it's
I,
it's very therapeutic cutting
it,
carrots and
yes, yes, it is. Um,
oh no.
but yeah, it is really funny. So it's a way of sort of um, maximizing that time that I would just be
Mm.
stood in one place chopping. So I put a movie on while I'm
Was
doing
it?
that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, when we get older and we've got responsibilities, houses, work, you make the most of what time you've got. And if
Yeah.
you want to, because I don't get a lot of time for reading,
Mm,
so I listen to an awful lot of audiobooks while I work.
yeah.
And I always go for I've got a little Amazon subscription and I always go for books that have got really long hours. So I make the most of it. And I'm listening to a book and I go for the unabridged. And you, some of the time, most of the time, you get a really good narrator. Every
Mm.
so often, you'll get one that, oh no,
I'm
the
very
same tone.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm
I have to
lucky.
click with the narrator. Yeah.
I'm lucky that all the books I like, 95% of them, the narrators are really good.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that
But as I
gives me
say,
hope.
when you say you watch a horror, do you look at a film while you're working and say, "Well, I'll have that," or do you do you have like a list on your apps and
I
then
I use the list. Yeah, I use I just put it in my watch list in Amazon. So like if I'm like on the weekend or if I'm sat in the living room, in the evening, um I'll go on to Amazon Prime Amazon Prime Video, and
Mhm.
I'll just have a nose through because we usually watch a movie like on a Sunday
Mm.
or Saturday night rather, and then so sometimes we're thinking, well, what movie should we watch? So when I'm in there looking for a movie suggestion, I'll see
Mhm.
horror movies popping up, and I'll go, oh, that looks interesting, and I'll stick that
Mhm.
in the watch list. So then when it comes to chopping the veg on a Sunday, I just
Mhm.
go nosing through my watch list and say, "Oh yeah, I tucked that one away. I put that one away for a rainy day." So that's usually where I'll find stuff to watch.
Mhm. I mean,
Some things I've gotten into and I've just like switched them off right away and be like, "Nope, fail. Find another one."
oh, I must admit, been on Prime and I've got one. No, don't like that. No, and yeah, that. But sometimes you'll watch a movie, won't you? And you look down at what other people have watched, and I go
Yeah.
through it, and there's some of them I think, no, I don't. Why you think what the connection is? But yeah, I mean, I do like those. That's how I do mine normally.
Yeah.
Or mainly someone will say, "Hey, I've seen this. You like that? Watch this." And my sister's very good for that. She'll say to me, "You'll like this," and I'll
Mhm.
say, "Oh, will I?" But I mean, do you have Netflix?
No, no, we don't pay, except for Amazon Prime, we don't pay
Yeah.
for any external services. So that's why I've been so impressed with some of the free movie apps that you can
Mm,
download
mhm.
legally, to your because if you go on your Prime stick, it'll gives you like the list of apps, and then you can, if you use the search tool for a movie, it'll say the movie's like available on the Fossum app or something like that. And then when you go and look at that, it's a free app. You just have to put up with some adverts, which is isn't ideal, but
Oh,
it's if it's a movie I'm not sure I'm even gonna like, then I don't really care.
I must admit, I mean, I grew up with adverts on TV, so I'm not really bothered now.
Yeah,
I tell
and
you,
me.
although YouTube annoys me when the amount of adverts YouTube's chucking in now, and
Yeah.
they are really getting ridiculous. But
It's unfortunately making it almost unwatchable now in terms of if you're
yeah,
watching like a feature. It makes it almost unwatchable, which is a shame. And I've
yeah,
heard people who pay for the ad-free version, I'm pretty sure I've heard people say that there are still adverts in there, just not as
oh,
prolific as the free version. But I think it's also there's a method to the madness because they're trying to drive people to the subscription version.
oh
So
yeah,
annoy
yeah,
you enough to the point where you think, okay, well, saw this, I'm just going to pay for a ad free.
yeah.
You know,
And they're all trying to do it, aren't they? I isn't Facebook trying to bring something in soon?
I wouldn't
I've
be
heard.
surprised. Yeah,
Yeah,
be
no.
surprised. You know, I don't mind paying for a service that I know there's going to be a good chunk of movies on there that I'll watch.
Hmm.
And Prime, unfortunately, is notorious for having a lot of really crappy movies. Some really good ones, but they do have a
Hmm.
lot of really bad ones as well. Um,
Um, what's if you've got Tubi on yours?
yes, that's another good one.
Some of those are pretty good because I think,
Yeah,
oh, that's pretty good on
yeah.
there. Now,
There's
what's
like
that?
YouTube channels that like will tell you like all the good ones to watch on Tubi, all the good ones to watch on all the different
Mhm. Yeah.
apps and everything. So yeah, there's a wealth of information
Mm.
to know
Mm.
like where to watch different things.
Yeah. I must admit, when we were talking about Cloverfield, and I said about underwater, deep water, I would actually give that a go if it's free.
Oh yeah, I'll watch that. Yeah, if I can find it
And
for free. Yeah.
yeah, because I think the Christian Stewart, who was in the what do they call it? Those
Oh
vampire, the shiny vampires.
yeah,
She
the
actually,
sparkly vampire people.
she is actually very good in this one. And it's
Yeah, I'm
the
glad that there's like she's done other things besides that.
and what I liked about it is that it's not just the visuals. It's again, it's the noises.
Cool.
Your deep water, and it's a film set, and you all the creaking and groaning, and I don't know. I don't think I could cope with that. When people you hear these submariners say about submarines, oh, don't you hear the whales through the skin and sub
Creaking them.
and
Yeah.
no, I don't want
Yeah.
to.
That's one of the things my favorite movie has, which is Jaws, is the sound because when they're out on the Orca on ship, you hear again, it's that same thing. You can hear like all these little subtle noises, the creak of the floorboards, the sound of Quint's
Mm,
making the ticking noises in that
mm.
scene where he's sort of like slowly watching it, and they're all like Hooper and Brody are
Oh,
distracted doing other things, and
yeah.
Quint just staring at that reel, and he can see it
Yeah.
tick, tick, and he knows that that's a sign that there's something
Yeah.
after the date. And those little subtle sounds are so, so good. And like when they're out on Hooper's, before they go on to the Orca, Brody and Hooper go onto Hooper's boat, which is
Oh yeah.
real, you know, um, has all the bells and
State.
whistles. It's a very
Yeah.
expensive boat, and he's got a fish finder, and he's got under radar and all this stuff.
Mm.
Here, like all the little like beeps and boops and things from the equipment.
Yeah.
That's one of the most wonderful things about that film, are the visceral sounds that you hear.
And the classic one of all was Alien. And
Yeah.
when Dallas is in those, and he goes, boo, 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 Dallas, get out of there. Where is it?
Yeah.
It's in the cashes.
Veronica screaming at him,
and, yeah, and you see the screen they're looking at, and it doesn't bear any relationship to what poor old Dallas is, because he's got tunnel there, tunnel there, tunnel there.
He doesn't know which direction it's
and you just said, look at it, and it's stopped. It's around there somewhere. You got to, oh no,
yeah.
That oh.
The other scene in Alien, in the original Alien, is that I love, that the sound is so evocative, is when Harry Dean Stanton's character, my brain, basically I need a new brain. I can't think of Brett.
Oh, Brett. Right.
I know that movie. I've only watched it probably about 6,000.
Yeah.
But when Brett, John Hurt's just been killed, and the thing comes out of his chest and it disappears into the ship, and they think, what the hell, so they're just wandering around looking for it, and Brett's friend, Yaphet character, I can't think of his character's name now.
Oh God. Yeah. No, I'm the same as you.
He yells at Brett, and he's like, no, go and find it. You oh, it's because of the cat. They were annoyed that Brett let the cat run out into the rest of the ship, because now they're going to find it.
Yeah.
It's gonna throw off their motion sensor that they've created.
Yeah.
Find this thing. And there's a scene where Brett wanders off looking for Jonesy, and you can hear the dripping.
Yeah.
That scene, and that is so unsettling to me, that it's like that you can hear like the pipes dripping, and every sound is echoing because of where he is in that sort of engine room area.
Yeah.
That's a really creepy moment.
And I think the best bit about that film is that scene is that you can actually see part of the alien in one scene, and you're not aware of it. And it's only when someone's gone back through it and it shows you, oh my God, how did you miss that? Because it is the mechanicalness of it.
Yes, because that's the beauty of sort of Giger-esque artwork, the look of the aliens, because they blend so well into that sort of steampunk background of the engine room.
Yeah. But getting back to Jaws, another one that I found was when at night time, when they're around and it's night and they can hear the whales, and then when Quint starts talking about the USS Indianapolis, that music then, and that helped.
Rises, yeah,
and he goes, "Saint like so and so men went into the water, and so that's why I won't go." And he was so good at that. But apparently he was a real pain in the bum to work with.
He was a bit of a strong character, he was fun to work with, by all accounts.
Yeah, he apparently
wrote that bit about the Indianapolis, I think.
Yeah. Because I know they said even in that film, The Battle of the Bulge, when he was in that, he was a German. He was a bit hard to get on with in that one as well. That poor little bloke who worked with him said he wasn't the easiest of people.
Yeah. Well, the other really great Robert Shaw film that really exhibits that part of his personality as well is The Taking of Pelham 123.
Oh.
Martin Shaw. My brain is just useless now. Oh my God. Hold on, I'm gonna find it now because I need to know. I can see the actors' faces, but it's a classic. They did do a remake of it, which
Oh.
I don't really have any interest in seeing. But the original is an absolute masterpiece and very much of its time. It's set in the 70s.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to get this to respond, but my my weary old system is not playing ball. But if you look up The Taking of Pelham 123, I'll look on my phone actually. Martin something was the other actor's name.
Walter Matthau.
That's it.
Oh.
Absolutely brilliant film, full of suspense, and the personalities that shine through. Jack Lemmon is in it as well. The personalities that shine through in that movie are insane. It's really good.
Wow.
It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Wow. Hector.
Pelham 123. 1974. Yeah, there we go. Crime thriller. It's excellent. And Robert Shaw, he is a very hard character in that. He's, you know, yeah. I'm just reading the chat now.
There's a bloke in there who looks like a bloke from, I was looking it up on that letterbox, and a bloke called Hector Elizondo.
Oh, yes.
And is that the bloke who was Braytac in Stargate? It really does look like him.
Oh, do you know what? I'm not sure.
I'll have a look, because that is
never mind.
That
just
could be wrong.
Yes, I'm familiar with him as well. There's just so many movies. I could just talk about it 24 hours a day. I just love them all.
No, it's not. He's different actor. He just looks very similar. Never mind. Oh dear.
Oh, there's so much great stuff. I mean, Jaws is enough for a whole stream on its own. It's just such a good movie.
Oh yeah, I just think it's amazing. I remember I never saw it in the cinema, but I remember all my friends did, and it was just my mum and dad wouldn't let me watch it. No, not watching that. So I had to wait, and I saw it. Actually, I saw it at school, and I thought at the time, I thought, yeah, we had a school film shop, and they showed us Jaws, and then about a month later, they did the full uncut version of Assault on Precinct 13.
Never.
And I'm not joking. I went home and I told my sister, we watched this really good film. There's a really bad bit. And my mum's watching, and she's, what was that? Well, this little girl went to get an ice cream, and this bloke shot this little girl in the chest, and she exploded. My mum was going, what?
Yeah, and that's surprising that they would show that in this school. And not so much back then, though.
Yeah, it's just, it was really, and even the music for that was really. I can't remember who did that. Was a Carpenter film, John Carpenter, or was it? He's the music to it was very much like the soundtrack from The Thing. That boom, boom, that almost like a cold
heartbeat,
and like the ultra noise, and that puts. I think that's part of putting you on edge, isn't it? That
absolutely.
Sound.
It's like in The Shining, the music in The Shining as well. Really, that creepy music as he's driving up to the Overlook in the very beginning. It's that's
Yeah, I
another
mean,
masterpiece.
I years ago, we watched that, my wife and me, and I could do the impressions of him. Wendy, I'm good. No, I'm going
Yeah,
to beat your breath. And she said, "You do that too well."
Wendy, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna
And it's
sugar break it.
I and it's just like the Evil Dead,
Mm.
where one of the classic scenes is when Ash is just going off his mind, and he's standing at the mirror. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. And his reflection comes out and goes, We've just taken an axe to our girlfriend's head. We've taken her head off. We are not all right." And it's
That's
and
another great one.
I saw that and I just love that film. It just
I love anything Bruce Campbell, anything Evil Dead. It's so fun. Yeah, Josh just put in the chat. Here's Johnny. Yeah,
but I would like to see a well done, not absolutely spot on with a book, but I'd like to see the Lovecraft film done well.
Well, isn't Del Toro wasn't Del Toro supposed to be doing a Lovecraft?
Yeah, he was.
Very few hands that I would trust that in, and he's one of them.
These
So definitely
on Netflix. I know you don't see it, but if it ever comes out somewhere else, there's a series of films that Del Toro has commissioned. The Cabinet of Curiosities.
yes,
And if
that's
that, have you ever seen any of it? I don't know if
No.
it's about anywhere else. I wish that was available on video, because some of that is just really Lovecraftian.
I can see he did a series.
Yeah. There is one of them is really Lovecraft. It's the one with the storage container. And I'd love to get that on video, but but Del Toro was going. There was a video. There's a group of people on YouTube called the Cheshire Cat Studio, and they used to do like a discussion podcast. And they did a really good bit about what happened to that film. And apparently, one of the main reasons that he didn't go ahead with it was because of Prometheus, the aliens, because they thought that it was too similar. And couldn't work out, but they went through it. And also they said that during the filming, the studio said, "We want you to do the film, but we want that. And we want a romantic interest in it. And we want this to happen and that to happen."
Yeah.
And I think Del Toro was well, no, because that won't be anything like them now. But the film studio was not willing to put money into it because they thought it was too similar in theme to Prometheus. And also because Del Toro was very hesitant at them taking a cut to the film, because I think that The Mountains of Madness would be a brilliant film.
Yeah.
It really
from what I recall of that story, yeah, definitely. The thing with Lovecraft stuff is it's got to be done right. We did watch a Lovecraft movie with what's his name? My memory is so bad. He's not one of my. He's very Marmite to me. I've seen things that I have enjoyed him in, but most of the stuff he's just not my cup of tea. What did I say? What was it called? I watched the movie that he did that was like a Lovecraft movie, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. What's his name?
Is he a horror normal?
No,
horror
he's a more he's a very well-known actor. Hold on. What the hell was it called? Lovecraft. I'll find it now. Color Out of Space. Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
That was. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't. I did. Oh, I remember Color Out of Space. I didn't actually like that story, so I
I
kind
thought,
of.
I
I,
just, yeah, I thought it
I,
was horrendous. I hated it.
I made the stupid mistake of sitting down thinking that I found the oh, not the Shadow over Image, the Dunwich Horror,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, brilliant! So I started
Mm.
watching it, and I got halfway through it, and I thought, this has got nothing to do with the Dunwich Horror, it, because that book is really there's not a lot of gruesome stuff in it, but
It's
it
more
does,
like a creeping dread, isn't it? It's like,
yeah. And the Rats in the Walls is another one that is really
mm,
that is the end of that. You think, oh my goodness. But
mm,
but what I found, there was a BBC radio adaptation of the Mountains of Madness, and that was done well. But what really was done well was they had, every so often they'd have this musical bit that came in, and oh my god, if it was like a sound, a vocal, a sound jump scare, because it really
yeah,
made you go,
yeah.
and it suited it, and it just.
Mm. Yeah, I
But
think it's been very more like on the hit and miss scale. It's definitely been more
mm,
miss, I think, with the Lovecraft adaptations that are out there.
mm,
Um, I'd have to really like deep dive into it and watch some again to get a full feel for it. But that one
mm,
with Nicolas Cage, we put that on one night, and I honestly, had we not put it on and watched it together, I would have just turned it off. I was
mm,
just so grossed out, and not in a good way, not in a horror fan way. I just thought the way the character was in the movie was, I literally wanted to punch him. I just wanted to
mm.
punch him right through the TV screen. Oh, I hated his character in that so much.
Yeah.
Gives me
Yeah.
chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, there are some like that. And I
Yeah,
say I
excellent
would.
actor, by the way. I love, I think Nicolas Cage is an amazing
Mm,
actor, but I think true to form, if he's in a movie that you're not supposed to like the character or the character's really weird, he does that really well.
mm. I think, wasn't he running Face Off? Do you remember that one?
I did watch Face Off. Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that was
We
that was
like that.
of its time. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember watching that with my wife, and she said at the time, "Sure, that we did actually like that." Yeah,
yeah,
but
because he plays good. You
mm,
know, he plays characters like that very well.
yeah, I mean, but with the Lovecraft stuff, I really would like them one day to do some good Lovecraft.
God, but as soon as I heard Del Toro's name in association with anything Lovecraft,
Mm,
I could hear angels singing because he is,
mm,
he's probably one of the only ones I can even think of
mm.
that I would give enough credit to be able to make it surreal enough.
Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
I loved Pan's Labyrinth,
Oh, that is just, I love
but
that film.
it's so powerful that I don't
Mm,
know that I could watch it again because of the subject matter,
mm,
because I feel so deeply for the little girl and her character and her mother and everything. I feel
yeah,
so deeply because it's such a hard subject. It's such a
mm.
hard subject, but the the magic of that movie is beyond. And that creature
Oh
that he
yeah,
created with the eyes on his hands and stuff,
oh yeah, yeah.
that was oh, everything about it was an absolute masterpiece.
And those little fairies that try and save her, and it just, no, no,
Yeah,
oh
it's
dear.
hard. It's a hard watch, but it's
Mm.
worth watching at least once because it is so visually spectacular.
What was the other one he did that was about the orphanage? I can't remember what that's called. That was I remember that. I remember my ex saying to me at the time, "Oh my God, this is horrible."
I
I
can't
can't remember.
remember.
I can't remember. I'll have to look
No.
that. It's Del Toro films.
Another one that's worth a stream to chat about if you've ever seen any are talking about Marmite is M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I do love a couple of his films dearly, but obviously others not so much.
Mm.
I'm just
The
looking to
Devil's
see.
Backbone.
Oh, okay, yes.
That
I've heard of
is
that one. I've not seen it, but I don't think I have anyway. But I know
mm,
the title
yeah,
well.
I'd like, that'd be, we could, I think I've seen a lot of the films of his, but I'd like to go back and rewatch them, and we could have a discussion on that. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, there's folk horror,
Mm,
there's, slashers, there's so many things.
mhm,
Um, they say that, you come into this life and then there's some things that happen or that you find you get pulled towards and they just become your lifelong passion, and that's horror for me. And I love not so much just the surface level element of it, but the psychology of
mhm,
how it affects us and how it can help us
mhm,
in many ways, because it's teaching us how we would react in that situation by looking at the characters and how they react and thinking to
mhm.
ourselves, I wouldn't react like that. Why is she doing that? Why is he doing that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then you stop and think, well, wait a second. Would I be able to stay as calm as that character in that situation?
Mm,
Would I fall apart? So I love that it allows you to explore your own psyche and how a movie impacts you, and um and what you would do in that situation. I just find that really interesting.
yeah. That'd be good. I think one of the films I really liked at the time was Dog Soldiers. You've-
Love Dog Soldiers.
And I just, Son of Pertwee was so good in there. Hit
Ah,
me,
Sean, yes, he talked
hit
about
me.
that. We went to that Comic-Con last year, and he was there, and he did a panel, and we had the pleasure of sitting in on his panel. Um, and what a lovely man. Very
Yeah.
much, very, strong elements of his dad come through.
Oh,
But he did talk about Dog Soldiers.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
great movie.
did you twig that the girl at the end was one?
It's been
We
a while. I've watched it a few times over the years, but I can remember. I'm just thinking back now. That was, yeah, they were like holed up in the cabin at the end, and that
Mm,
they thought they were being. Yeah, I'm just sort of replaying it in my head,
yeah.
but I think I know what you're referring to. The girl and the
Mm,
character I can picture in my mind, but it's probably been a few years now since I've watched it.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, I think I know what you mean.
yeah.
Howling is another one. I mean, we could do like werewolf movies.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say vampire, then werewolves and things.
Don't even get me started on that. I love the werewolf films.
Yeah, we know what we do. We could discuss that and
Yeah,
see what we
I'm up for
come up
that.
with. One of the things I've heard that's going around the atmosphere, and I haven't actually focused in on it, is this new remake of The Mummy.
Mm,
And I've
I've seen
been
something about
catching
that.
these things of people saying that when it was,
Are
they
we
have a child,
talking
the The Mummy that
which
Brendan
one though?
Fraser.
Okay, that one. Okay, I
That
thought
the
I thought
re,
we were talking about like the Karloff
no,
original
that
version.
this,
So
but
this is more the
the,
Brendan Fraser one, right?
yeah, but people are saying that if you went thinking that you were going to get a mummy like he did, you are going to be pretty shocked. It's going to be they're saying it's pretty horrific, and loads of people walked out of the screening because it was really dark
See,
or
that's got my
something.
attention now. That does have
Yeah,
my attention.
I must admit, I thought, oh, that's for me, but there are people saying no.
Mm,
That
it
was
depends
that
what kind
movie.
of dark. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like that Mummy for what it was because at Hokum it was almost Indiana Jones type, but I also like the dark Christopher Lee Mummy, Boris Karloff stuff. I love that too.
Yes, yes, which I grew up watching with my dad. So that was our thing. Watching that. And PJ's mentioned Taika Waititi in the chat and mentioned What We Do in the Shadows, which is interesting that he mentioned that because the movie of What We Do in the Shadows it's like a documentary style movie, so it does have found footage vibes because it's more documentary style. It's a mockumentary basically. And that is a masterpiece of a movie. That is one of my all-time favorite movies in that genre.
Yeah, wasn't that rock band almost found like a mockumentary?
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They can be really entertaining, like the mockumentary thing.
Yeah, we could do werewolf films. If you want to do werewolf films next, that'd be a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I mean,
there's a guy who does video review or talks to, and he always asks them, werewolf or vampire, what would you like to be? And nearly everybody wants to be a vampire. And
vampires are much more. They're much sexier. They're more like exciting. It's everlasting life. And depending upon what type of vampire you picture in your mind when you think of a vampire, we grew up with the Bela Lugosi, elegant, romantic vampire. So yeah, I mean that's extremely appealing. To be and then you get into like the Buffy style vampires and things like that. So yeah, the vampire thing is really alluring because it's sort of like you get to party in the afterlife and you're just ridiculously cool because you're a vampire. But the werewolf thing is painful because you see like the transformation, like when they turn.
Oh yeah.
They go through agony through this transformation at every full moon. So it doesn't look like a fun time. I have to admit, it doesn't look like a fun time. They're cool looking. I like watching them, but yeah, I think I would definitely go with vampire.
Yeah, I mean, the one movie that made me realize just how bad it was going to be was Werewolf, American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, that classic. Absolute.
That
classic transformation scene.
And the thing about that, it's I think the most bad part of that was his friend who kept on turning up and slowly rot. And when he's in the cinema, he's sitting there and he's saying, well, you're going to have to commit suicide. And they're all suggesting, well, you can chuck stuff behind the train.
The comedy in that, the dark comedy in that is genius. It's so good. It has everything, that movie.
I think the bit that made, because I was warned about one bit of it by a friend at work, and he said, oh, by the way, there's a bit in there that's going to make you really jump, is when he wakes up and he thinks, and it isn't, and that thing jumps out of the, and it's just, I love that. And then they went and did an American Werewolf in Paris, which was not.
I don't even think I've seen that, to be fair.
No,
because I probably heard they were. I thought, no, don't break it, just leave it.
Yeah, because the whole thing about that film was not just the werewolf; it was the setting and all the characters. Because isn't isn't what's his name? One of the doctors, Sylvester McCoy, in that, or am I thinking of something else? In that pub, the Slaughtered Lamb.
Oh yes, there are some well-known actors in there. I don't know.
I think. What's his name's in there? The bloke from the bald guy from Alien 3.
Yes.
The Yorkshireman. He's in.
Yes, the Yorkshireman. Yep.
Oh, Rick Mayall. Rick Mayall's in it. If he's actually in there,
is that? When they go, are you serious? He's in the pub.
I think he's in the pub. I'll have a look.
I adore Rick Mayall. I miss him every day.
Yeah.
Is he? He's in. I know. I can see him. I can see him in my mind's eye now, and because I can see all the faces in the pub. And you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's in it. Yeah.
That's so cool. I completely forgot about that. I got to be fair.
Yeah, you blink and you miss him. Brian Glover's in it,
Yep.
and he's on the same table as Brian Glover. Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
great.
I can remember the like you pat the camera pans by him. Yeah, there he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That is cool. I completely forgot about that, and
And the
I
music
adore
is
it
so
now.
good, isn't it? You can't.
It's everything. Yeah,
You cannot ever listen to I see a blue moon rising. And
yeah.
what do you think
Creedence
about?
Clearwater Revival. Yeah,
Yeah.
great song. Um, oh yeah, Darren is saying in the chat, key scenes of American Werewolf were filmed in Wales near Hay on Wye, which is really cool.
Oh.
We were talking about this the other day actually because we've actually been around there with a friend of ours who we've done a lot of hill walking
Mm-hmm.
around with a friend of ours who's a huge walker. You know, so we've been around a lot of those places with him. But yeah, and at the time I didn't realize, so I'd love to go back now and sort of see the places, the specific places. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We actually, when one Christmas, we stayed near that area in a showman's caravan in about 3
Cool.
foot of snow,
I'd love
and
that.
we walked all the way through. And the farmer went to us, "Why did you want to do that?" Well, we fancied it, and we walked into a little village. But yeah,
Oh God.
it was
We had a very much side squirrel moment. When I vacationed in the UK in 1996 with a friend of mine who was also a work colleague, we had a slaughtered lamb moment that we laughed about after because we were sort of these two gormless, Americans in the UK for the first time. I think, and my friend, I used to call us the city mouse and the country mouse.
Mm-hmm.
I was the country mouse and she was the city mouse. So I was a little bit more, I think, au fait with countrified mannerisms. So I wouldn't come into a pub and start, you know what I mean? I would expect people to sort of be very low key. I wouldn't raise my head above the parapet.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I would stay very low key and I would
Yeah.
read the room for a long time before I would dare to sort of engage with anybody unless they engaged with me first. So, but we were a bit of a force of nature, when we came in, and every head in the place, we were right in the middle of somewhere in North Wales. We did go through Llangollen, but I can't remember if it was that area or a different part of the north part of Wales. But it was way out of the way. We were staying in a bed and breakfast that was way off the beaten track. We had driven around all day. We were exhausted, and we had arrived at the bed and breakfast too late. And the owner of the B&B had said, we're not serving anymore, but there is a local pub up the road, and it was all like farming lanes. And we finally found this place. It didn't even have a sign outside. It was just a building. It was like a barn. And we went inside, and it was this, just like the slaughtered lamb. It was so funny. We walked in, and like all these people stared at us, and I felt like walking back out. I was so terrified. So it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were way total fish out of water. It was funny.
Yeah, I've been to a few pubs like that. When we went to Wales, we went into a pub near the Sugarloaf Mountain.
Okay, that's south Wales, yeah.
And there was a pub that said it was the oldest pub. And my wife, I went to the loo, and my wife went to the bar. And as I came out, everybody was looking at her, and the barman was looking like that. That's a joke, he said. And she went. She just stood there, and I thought, "Oh no, I wanted to." And she said, "I couldn't understand a word he was saying," and everybody's looking. It's like, oh no. Oh,
It's very awkward. Yeah, it's pure comedy in a way, very like dark comedy, really, because
yeah.
you walk in there and you don't know if you're going to be received well or if you're not. And there was one, I remember we did go in and we did sit down in a booth, and everything was just, it was dead quiet. Like there were people that had been chatting away, like local, probably local farmers and workmen were at a big long table and they'd all been chatting. All the conversation stopped dead. And we just sat there in awkward silence at our little booth. And then the proprietor came around and he asked us, where we were from, making very, very sort of limited conversation. And then we didn't even know like how to ask him for food. There was no menus or anything on the table. It was all very weird. Like we'd walked in on a secret cult. We just didn't know how to behave. So it was trippy. It was very trippy.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, that was my slaughtered lamb moment.
I remember years and years ago when my best friend, who's sadly no longer with us, his parents moved down to Devon, right out in the Devon, between Bideford and something. And I went down there and he came out to me and his father said, if you lads go out, there's a couple of pubs around here. He said, if you go in them, if they start telling you things, he said, because they will, because there's some really odd people, don't scoff at anything. Just accept it, nod. He said, I said, what? He said, no, just don't.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay. So we didn't but we found out, we went to Exeter and we went into a bookshop, and I have never seen a bookshop with so much like witchcraft, occult, and everything. I said to my mate, look at all that. And he went, oh yeah, look, it's amazing, because we were into role playing. I said, we could get that. And these people are looking at us. And this woman said to my friend, are you into that? He goes, oh, a scenario. And they were this woman was like, oh no, that took it very seriously. And we were a couple of young lads who were just wanting to put it into characters for our games. and it's really funny because we didn't drive. We took the old bus. And this bus was driven by this bloke who looked, I said to my mate, if there was ever, a living deep one, that guy,
Yeah.
And this bus was so old. When it went up the hills,
Yeah.
And it slowed and it slowed and it slowed. And my friend goes, should we ask him to get out and push? And I said, no, he might just eat us.
He'll walk faster.
Yeah, it's really funny. But that was years ago. That was back in around 80, 89 or something. Oh.
Yeah.
But
it is fun.
Yeah, Bideford and what's the other place? Oh, crikey. Barnstable.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And the funny thing is, even in places that we're very familiar with now, wherever we've moved to, like where we live now, we haven't dared to venture into any of the local pubs except for the chain pub, like a Marston's pub.
Yeah.
But any of the real, like the workman, like the proper workman's clubs, or the proper sort of pubs that you can tell have just been there forever.
Yeah.
It's very intimidating, because my desperate mortal fear is that I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to, I don't want to come across, because the minute people assume when they hear an accent that isn't local, that you're a tourist and that you're visiting sometimes as well. So you get a bit of an odd, you get a bit of a funny reaction sometimes. But saying that, when I first came over, Darren and his family used to go to a local pub where we lived, and I was never so I never felt so at home with a group of people who I didn't know, but who came together in a local pub to sing, um, knock back some pints, um, play some pool. You know, it was so vastly different to what I was used to in the States, and
Mm,
I loved it. I just loved the whole
mm,
vibe of it. So anytime we've had a chance to go into some of the real out of the way classic, very
mm,
classic old world,
mm,
pubs. There's one called the Goose and Cuckoo that is in South Wales that's got that real old world feel. I don't know if they're still there, but there's loads. What's that other one we went to? Yeah, Darren's just like, oh my god, that's the Goose and Cuckoo is such a classic.
mm,
Um, and some of them are extremely friendly and lovely,
mm.
but you always have to err on the side of caution in my experience.
Yeah.
I'm always very respectful, and I always the most horrible thing I can imagine is sort of flouncing in and start speaking in my American accent, and I go in and I read the room first usually. you
Well,
know
I used to, because I'm not a big pub person,
mm,
and I used to, because my dad grew up around this area, and I used to say to him, my friends are thinking of going to this pub. Do you know? And my dad would say, hmm, yeah, that's okay. Just be careful of don't upset anybody. And
mm,
because a load of the pubs around Chatham were dockyard type pubs, and each
mm.
pub would be favoured by a trade. So you'd have a pub. You got a pub called the Jolly Corkers, and the people in there were the one. They were like the dockyard mateys used to go. And I said to my dad, "Is that rough?" He goes, "Well, it's not as rough as it used to be." I said, "What?" He
Oh,
said, "Well,
spit
years
and
ago," he
sawdust.
said,
Yeah.
the shore patrol used to go round that pub quite regularly. And I said,
Mm.
"Oh," he said, "Yeah, they would sort things out." But yeah, I remember once though, I met this because I used to belong to a Star Trek club, and I met this guy who lived up a quite rough bit of Medway Towns, and he said, "Oh, let's meet up. I'll take you to a pub you'll like." And I said, "What's it called?" And he called Fagin's.
Oh.
Oh, so he said, "Can you drive?" I go, "Okay." So we drove up this road, which is the back of Beyond, and it was all these old houses. And I said, "I can't see a pub." He goes, "Oh, we have to go this way." And he then leads me up to this old bit of rough ground, and we're walking across it. And I said, "Where are we going, Gary?" And he goes, "Over there." And this door opened up in this what looked like a really run-down bomb site, and this bloke like fell out. And but I thought, oh my God, what am I getting into? Got in there, and it was lovely. It
Yeah.
was an old pub run by an old gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a young son who was an ex-marine or something. And it was really, as soon as you come in, "Oh, come on in." But I was really worried before. I'm
It's
walking across.
terrifying, I know, because you
Yeah,
just don't know what you're walking into sometimes.
but
There
it
was
was, yeah, it was just, yeah.
there
It's
was a
just,
there was a pub that we did go to a couple of times. Darren will remember what it was. I can't remember it now. But the proprietor of the pub was a quite an elderly man, and he was a real character. He was great fun.
mm,
And I love the ones that will come and have a laugh with you and do a
yeah,
bit of good natured, very, very good natured, well intentioned
mm,
um, piss taking and chiding, And so we had this banter going back and forth about the fact that I was an American, and he would come around and make a sort of silly comment and say, I forget what he was saying, but he had like a nickname for me or something, I can't remember. And we just had so much fun in there.
yeah,
We had so much fun, and he was just so cool about it. Because you can tell the difference between, like, we've been in a pub, where people were just assholes, basically, and but the one that I was thinking of that we really enjoyed. Remember, he had not an animatronic, but he had a static prop of what looked like um, a zombie butler holding a tray, and I can
Oh, right.
remember that one. It had a fireplace in it, and it had like all the old white painted brick, and
Trying to think.
yeah, he was such a lovely man, the older man that was in there, and I loved going in there. He was great.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's the thing I love about a lot of the the older pubs as well, because once if you hit the right one, you just get the most wonderful banter. And if you understand Britishness and British humor, and you appreciate it. I mean, I grew up, my dad was born in the States, but his parents were Brits.
Oh, right.
They'd emigrated to the US. So he had a foot in both all of his life. And as a result, I kind of did as well. So it was a no-brainer, coming here. It didn't throw me at all, really. But that's what I love about one of the things I really love about British culture and pubs in Britain is that there's this wonderful character to not only the structure and not only the building, but the people. You just meet local people who who just understand the value of the community, that they come together, and have such a nice time at those pubs.
And it's so sad that the amount of local pubs and the country pubs are closing down.
I know. It is heartbreaking.
Where my sister used to live down in West Sussex, Wivelsfield, which was very near, Vera Lynn used to live around that area, and a pub near that area, that closed down. And I said to my sister, how could a pub that seems so, so many people in there? And she just said, but she said what they tried to explain to us was you'd have to have so many people in all the time. It's so expensive to run now.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Yeah, and it's so difficult because they need to bring in more people. But how do they do that without upsetting the locals? Because if you change a pub too much, the local people are going to feel pushed out. But they need to bring more people in.
And I've seen pubs have to go through that, and I've seen pubs actually try and do that. Some have succeeded, some haven't been able to pull it off. So it's difficult.
Because where I live here with my mum, if you walk about a quarter of a mile, there's a pub in the little village called Breadhurst, and they've got the Breadhurst Bell, and that's been there donkey's years. And that has undergone about 3 transitions, moving up and one of them only lasted. The people were in there for 3 months.
Wow!
And they just couldn't make it work. But the new lot, it's changed. It's not so much a local pub, but it's still nice.
Yeah.
And people told it's changed too much. Yeah, but if it hadn't changed, it wouldn't be there.
It wouldn't be there at all. Yeah.
It would be a block of flats now. So,
but I totally get and appreciate why changing a pub too drastically is like murdering it. It's like killing it, because each one is like a fingerprint. It has its own ecosystem, its own feeling, its own vibe, and its own spirit, when you go in there. And the pub that we used to go to when I first came over was a very popular local pub. And as I was coming over here, the people that had run it for many, many years were retiring and moving on, and they sold it on to a younger lad who took it on. Lovely couple. Sadly, very sad story. I mean, his wife passed away very young. of cancer. But when he took the pub over, a lot of his mates were coming in, and they were more like they just had a totally different. I don't think they were local. Like some of his mates were coming up from other areas and they weren't local, so they didn't have any etiquette.
Oh, right.
You know, and like they would take over whole tables, talk really loudly and shout, and it upset the whole vibe of the pub. And all the locals just, it was heartbreaking, you know, and ourselves included. Like we were there one night and they, this group of men came in and they were just assholes. They were just total assholes. And we were sat at one of the tables, and then there was like 3 other tables or 2 other tables next to ours. And they all piled around these other tables, and they deliberately, like, I was penned in with my chair and I was pushed up so close to our table. I didn't have any breathing space really, and on the same side that I was at. And you know how you just sort of gently say to somebody, excuse me, can I just, get past? And the logical thing to do would be, oh my God, I've been crowding this person, I'll move my chair back. And they were just bullies, and they just deliberately just wouldn't even budge their chair. They would make you push past them. And I literally just wanted to pour all the pints right over their heads. They were just assholes, and we didn't last. We just never went back up there, which was such a shame. It was such a nice pub. The people can spoil it if they bring in the wrong sort.
That is sad how that happens, but
it's
because the amount of pubs that are closed around our area is quite astounding, really. Either they've closed down or they've become harvesters, or
they've gone down the chain route,
and you don't get the beers that because we used to go down into the little, when my friends and me, when we get after our gaming sessions, we used to go down, we used to love something like a good bitter, and you then, or something like a Spitfire, and if it was a pub brewery, it didn't stock it because they took them over, you wouldn't get that. And I'm not a big lager fan, really. I like I don't drink anymore. Back then, I liked a nice cool beer, but
I know what you mean. I mean, there are some lovely, lovely chain pubs, but they shouldn't be the majority.
No,
we should still have been able to hang on to the, to the classical pubs, because they just gave so much back, and they're so immersive. You learn so much. You meet real people, from the community. And not only that, but there's so many dog-friendly pubs, and that's one thing that you just don't see. Like, I didn't remember anything. You could never bring a dog into a pub in the States where I lived. So I just love that. I love seeing people, and like the pub that we used to go to that I was just mentioning, when I first came over, you would get to know everyone's dog, because the local brewer would come in with his dog, and then someone else would come in with their dog, and the dogs would just wander around, and they would hang with you for a while, and they'd wander to another table, and everybody knew the dog. The dogs. It was like the dogs treated everyone like a big family. So it was such a great vibe.
I'm sure I've been to set a pub or two like that, because you can see the dog water bowls inside there and things like that.
Yeah, and where we live now is a really dog friendly town, so it's really nice.
That's
and
nice.
Somebody mentioned Abergavenny earlier in the chat to Aaron, and that's another dog friendly, pretty relatively dog friendly town, I think, up there as well. But it is nice.
We really liked it in Abergavenny. That was another one we did under the thatch, where we stayed in a farm place which had a gypsy caravan, and we stayed in
remember
that. And we used to go. We loved that.
That's cool.
And we were 1 week, because the lady said to us, "Oh, you should have been here next week." And we thought, "Oh, what's about next week?" And it was the Abergavenny Food Festival.
Ooh,
And
what a
we
nice
actually
time to
asked,
be up there.
and the farmer said, "If you want that week, you need to book years in advance, because everybody's here then." But one of the things about Abergavenny was that when I got back to Welcome, I was talking to the guy who was our porter. And I always thought, for a porter, he had a very refined way of speaking. And he goes, "Oh, you know the town hall there?" I said, "Yes." And he said, I said, "Yeah, that's now used as the market and things." And he said, "That used to be my grandfather's house." What?
Wow,
And it turns out that his whole family were farmers and landowners around there. And he went
that's
to
so
private school.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And because he'd say, "Hello, Ralph, how are you?"
Yeah.
And I said to him, "So what happened to you?" And he said, "I dropped out." I said, "What?" Because he was a child of the 60s. He said,
Oh, okay.
and he said, "And my family weren't that happy about it." Yeah.
Oh, there's
But
some
yeah,
great
oh,
characters
there is.
around.
And because then that's where we went to Hay on Wye. We went all the bookshops round there.
Oh, that's like Disneyland for
Yeah,
book
yeah,
people. It's just
it is. Because my wife was going to take me to one of those really good, the Walnut or something, but it wasn't open then, so we ended up having to pub lunch somewhere. But it was really nice.
yeah. Years ago, friends of ours took us up there, and that was I so wanted to go back for so many years, but it isn't quite. It's quite out of the way if you need to get up there like on public transport.
Oh yeah.
It is a little bit more of a challenge to get up there, but I would love to. I don't think I would so much want to be up there for the big festival, because I'm not really a fan of that many, unless I'm at a concert. I'm not a huge fan of that many crowds crowding in everywhere. You're queuing for ages trying to get something to eat. You can't, I'd rather go on a totally normal day and just wander.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the chat as well.
Yep.
Yeah, some great old books. We saw a wonderful patinaed copy of one of the Necronomicon, and it was this beautiful patinaed copy.
Ooh.
Leather cover copy of it or something, and I was dribbling. I just wanted to buy it so badly.
Cool. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
When years ago, my ex family had family holidays, and we had one down near Cheddar. And while they went off with the children, we just took a drive, and we found this. It said biggest second-hand bookstore, and we followed this road and all these signs right into the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, there was this gigantic farm building. It looked like a farm, and a patch of gravel out there. And this was a massive, great big second-hand bookstore in there.
Oh my God.
It was, and then you went all the way through it, and it was almost like a maze through different sections.
Oh, we'd be drooling.
And right at the end was their specialist category. And they had all these great big old books behind in cabinets with chicken wire round underneath the glass.
Wow.
And it was keys, and they said some of these were 14th century, and they were up for goodness knows what. And I thought, I wonder what's in there. And my wife goes, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, the original, probably a really good copy of the Necronomicon of the Court des Gaules." And she said, "What are you talking about?" And this really old bloke goes, "Oh, you're a Lovecraft fan." Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She said, "What?" He said, "Oh, yeah."
Ah,
Yeah, I love all
secondhand book,
that.
any bookstore, but like the really old, like something like that, or the older ones up at Hay on Wye
Oh
are
yeah,
like going into a magic shop. They're so wonderful.
yeah. You could spend, just wander down. I mean, I even like that about parts of London
Mm,
where we'd go up to London, my friends and me, and we'd do all the comic shops. And then one week, I said to my friends, "I need to save up for my car." Well, okay, let's just go wandering. So we just wandered all the way round London, not going on the tube, just wandered.
mm,
And we found all these old shops that were amazing. And
mm.
you even if you didn't buy anything,
They were just,
and we,
yeah, they were just
yeah,
fascinating to sort of explore.
and
Yeah.
then that's when we found the John Soames Museum, and it was just like a great big townhouse in London where this guy had obviously collected all this ancient Egypt stuff and just filled his
Cool.
house full of it. And it's
Cool.
just
Yeah, I love it.
and we found that amazing. So this guy must have had money back in the 19th century.
Yeah, yeah.
But, when you think he had this statue, like one of these things that goes outside one of the great big temples, and it started off in the front, the hall of his house, and it went all the way up the staircase right to the top.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
How did he get that in there?
Yes, that's true.
And then it was like, oh, we think it was cut into bits and put in there. Oh dear.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was all good fun, and it's well worth
Yeah.
doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, any
Well,
place like that, we love things like that.
yeah. Well, it's been 3 hours. I think we.
I know. How is that possible?
Yeah.
That's insane. But
So, what are you up to this week? When? Are you doing anything?
just a normal work week for me from Monday. Tomorrow is just if we get lucky and it's not raining tomorrow. If we get some decent weather, and even just not raining, it doesn't have to be like beautiful, but just some not rainy weather. We're gonna go for a little walk and just get some fresh air. And then just chill really.
Any films you going to watch? Anything in particular?
We haven't. Normally, we would watch. We usually watch a film on a Saturday, but we're gonna watch a film tomorrow, and we haven't chosen yet. I don't think what film we're gonna watch. So that's always the fun part of, like a weekend is like figuring out which film we're gonna watch. And Darren is like horror. My side is horror and sci-fi. I love sci-fi as well, but I very much lean towards horror, and then Darren is very much sci-fi. So we always end up finding like a really good sci-fi horror that's like a bit of both. Or we sort of swap back and forth. So it might be a horror one week and then a sci-fi, the following week.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so it kind of depends what we're in the mood for. If I can find anything decent on Amazon Prime. We have watched a couple good ones on there, but a couple of real stinkers as well. So we're careful now what we risk our Sunday on.
Yeah, well, yeah, because years ago when you're young, you don't care, you don't mind, but as you get older, and you got so much to do, you value your weekends. I know I do now.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and you want it to be something enjoyable. You don't feel like you've wasted those precious weekend hours.
Yeah,
outside of work. So yeah, so we'll see what we're in the mood for.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow. I said to my mum I'll take her around the garden centre, so we get some more plants to the garden and come home, and I'll do some work in our garden. Find some amazing things on YouTube.
Yeah,
look for another thing. Films, and that'd be it. And then next week is a really, really busy week. I've got all the people. Can you phone up? Can you do my lawn? Oh, well, I'm busy next week. Well, I need it done.
Oh,
I said, all right. I said, well, I might be able to. Oh, it's about 18-inch high. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Like that's not something I can just quickly, even with my petrol.
You can't just nip around quickly with a mower for that. Yeah, that's going to require some.
And when it gets that high, what people don't seem to realise is when you leave a lawn above that, say, a foot, it will never go back to what it was. And they can't understand what I say to them. You know, when you build a really tall building, you have to build foundations, big foundations. Well, grass has to do that to support that. Yeah. So once it gets to a certain height,
it becomes the foundation now, and it's changed.
And it will not change back.
Not only that, but leaving it that long, you get wildlife, making homes in the higher grass as well. So there's so many things you have to be careful of.
Yeah, that's true.
With that.
So I got that.
Well,
and probably some 3D printing. So I've got PJ's stream next week.
Yes, I know. I love sort of seeing your conversations about 3D printing. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I find them fascinating.
But one of the things is I'm doing a stream of another friend on his about AI, because we're both big role players, and we now realise that you can go to AI and you can say, I want to make a role playing about this book, like I'm doing it with Red Rising, and it's all right, and it knows. And obviously, I'm not going to sell this because it's not my but for your friends. So I've done that, and I've made those characters, and it's brilliant. And it's really what I find really strange is that the next week he goes, "Oh, you're interested in that, Miranda? I remember that." And
yes.
But it's
like having an assistant. Yeah, it's like having an assistant that knows you really, really well. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting what it's what it's opened up. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll end the stream now. But what I think we should do in the next one is we'll I contact you and we'll do it on werewolves. What do you think? Werewolves?
That sounds good. We could do a combination one. We could do werewolves and vampires or something like that to sort of make it, to flesh it out a bit, because I don't know how many werewolves. I mean, there's plenty of werewolf franchises, so to talk about, we could pick like some from werewolf and some from vampire.
Well, we could do that. Yeah. Okay. And thanks so much, and thanks to everybody else for coming along.
Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for inviting me back. I really enjoy these. This is great fun.
Okay.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Take care.
Bye. You too.
Bye, everyone. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.